Allen and Seth Meyers, citing horrible ratings. Greg Clugston, Washington.
Charlie Kirk's widow will take the helm at Turning Point USA, carrying on her late husband's legacy. Erica Kirk is a unanimous choice of Turning Point's board of directors. The board releasing a statement that reads in part, "It is our great pride to announce Erica Kirk as the new CEO and chair of the board." The announcement adds that in prior discussions, Charlie expressed to multiple executives that this is what he wanted in the event of his death. There is a new nuclear player in the volatile Middle East. Enter Pakistan. Correspondent John Gambrell says the Pakistanis have signed a mutual defense pact with Saudi Arabia.
So moving forward, this move likely will put Riyadh under Islamabad's nuclear umbrella, and that will bring new complications to the Middle East and possibly deter Israel as it continues its war in Gaza.
Part of the deal could be payback for the Saudis' reported financial support of Pakistan's nuclear ambitions. Britain's outgoing spy chief accuses Russia's Vladimir Putin of stringing the West along when it comes to his intentions for a peace deal in Ukraine. Watching Wall Street ahead of the opening bell, Dow futures up 62 points and Nasdaq futures 40 points higher. More on these stories at townhall.com.
So my mother is thinking of switching from Verizon to Pure Talk, but she's worried the deal sounds too good to be true. Michael, she said, how can those Pure Talk people offer me the same basic service as Verizon for so much less money? I said, Mom, go ask Google how much Verizon spends on advertising and promotion. A few seconds later, my mother said, oh my goodness, $12 billion a year? That must be a typo. I'll tell you what I told my mom. It's not a typo. Verizon spends $12 billion a year on advertising and promotion, and their customers are paying for it. Well, Pure Talk doesn't spend that kind of money on commercials. Trust me, I would know. Consequently, they can offer you and my mother unlimited talk, text, and plenty of data on a blazing fast 5G network for just $25 a month. Dial pound 250 and say the words Mike Rowe, and you'll get an additional 50% off your first month. That's pound 250 Mike Rowe. Pure Talk. Everything you need and nothing you don't.
The Taliban has freed a British couple held in Afghanistan for more than 7 months on undisclosed charges.
After their release, footage shows Peter and Barbie Reynolds on the airport tarmac. Barbie saying, all is good, as they say in Afghanistan. Then they get on a plane. Qatar, an energy-rich nation on the Arabian Peninsula that mediated talks between the US and the Taliban before the American withdrawal, helped in releasing the Reynoldses. The Reynoldses had lived in Afghanistan for 18 years and run an education and training organisation in the country's central province of Bamiyan, choosing to remain in the country after the Taliban seized power. The case of Peter and Barbie Reynolds, aged 80 and 75, underlines the concerns of the West over the actions of the Taliban since they overthrew the country's US-backed government in a 2021 lightning offensive. I'm Charles Dillard.
News and analysis at townhall.com. With less than 2 weeks to go before a government shutdown, little sign of compromise on Capitol Hill on the details of a continuing resolution.
All but the most essential of government services are set to shut down unless Congress can pass a continuing resolution by September 30th. The stopgap measure set for a vote in the House on Friday would keep the government up and running until mid-November. In the Senate, Republicans predict Minority Leader Chuck Schumer is holding a losing hand as he refuses to compromise with the GOP, hoping to blame Republicans for a likely shutdown. Bob Agnew reporting.
South Korean automaker Hyundai confirms it is moving ahead with expansion of its plant in Georgia. The move comes after an immigration raid delayed the startup of an electric vehicle battery plant at the Georgia site. The company plans to invest $2.7 billion to boost capacity by 200,000 vehicles over 3 years. More on these stories, townhall.com.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man in this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ, the travel witch, and what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican world radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning, one and all. Welcome to Mornings with Mike Winters. I am he. That would be me, Mike Winters. Happy Friday.
Yes.
Welcome to it. It's Friday.
We need
sun is shining.
Every morning, every Friday morning, I have the hip hop horn that I jump to.
Ah.
I announce that it's Friday.
That's right.
And then you get a. I need a soundboard like that.
We're gonna get back to the old wacky morning zoo.
Yeah, dude, Zoo Crew Radio.
Yeah, working for the weekend. I don't want to work for all that.
Just want to bang on the drum all day.
We're gonna do all that.
I don't want to play. Yeah. Got birthdays coming up. Say it's your birthday.
That's right.
Yep.
Bird toast and coffee time, 7:07.
Oh, and then you got the guy over on the corner with the slide whistle.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
Always a good time.
You know what? That reminds me of there's an episode of Mike and Molly, if you remember that show.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's a part where she's trying to be an author. And so she's got a book out, but she has to go sell her book. So she's got to do the radio circuit.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, she gets on, something like Buck and Goofy Show or, insert name here. I don't remember what the name is. But the DJ, it's basically a DJ by himself, but he's got a horn that's like a character. Uh-huh. and so she writes like romancy trash novels. So he's like doing the whole all the slide thing. Everything you just said was going apart. Matter of fact, the guy that's the voice, I recognize it. Mm-hmm. And the only thing I can think of him he's been in right now is the movie Down Periscope. Okay. He was the chef, the cook on Down Periscope.
Okay.
The dirty cook.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's that guy.
Oh, okay.
I recognize the voice. I'm like, I don't remember. I've seen him in other things. But I only remember him from Down Periscope right now, specifically.
Parks and Recreation did an amazing version of that because it was Leslie when she was running for a city council or something.
Yeah.
I think it was city council. And she had to go on all the different, radio promotional tour or whatever. And so she did the wacky, joke radio.
Right.
And it was like, I think the co-host was named like The Douche or something like that.
Yeah.
But then it cuts to the absolutely juxtaposed NPR set with the guy who's got the button-up sweater, and the best part about it is the host is Dan Castellaneta.
Oh, okay.
Who, for those who don't know, is the voice of Homer Simpson.
Yeah.
And he's doing that. This portion of NPR is brought to you by Lane and lists off the whole thing, and then is like, and a 20 I found under the fridge. Today's guest is Leslie Knope. Leslie, tell us about you.
Yeah.
Back in the day, and may he rest in peace, but James Lipton was always a blast to doing that with the Inside the Actors Studio.
Oh, I enjoyed watching his show. I remember, was it A&E?
I believe
they used
it was.
to show. They used to show I think it was like an hour and a half long too.
Mm-hmm.
It was quite long.
Oh yeah, no, it was definitely an intense.
Yeah,
interview.
and it was like basically like it was set up like he was in a college class because the audience was like college students,
right?
And he was like the professor interviewing.
It's done for four film students in like a class or whatever.
Yeah, but and it was always at the black stage with the two chairs, and it just had a certain look to it.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like part masterpiece theater, part live on something. But anyway, it was because because he had a certain way of asking questions that, well, like if you want NPR sound, just let's watch that.
Absolutely. His go-to traditional, like one question he asked everybody was, and what's your favorite curse word? And so they'd always have a whole like conversation about that. But there was I can't remember if it was on Arrested Development, but he actually played the warden on Arrested Development, the warden of the the prison,
okay,
who like desperately wanted to set up and do a musical, like with the inmates or whatever. But there's a scene in that or something else where you just hear this long, like they're bleeping out a curse word. He goes, fantastic. And what's your favorite curse word? Like whatever they were saying was already bleeped out. And that wasn't even the question.
He's done a couple comedic things. I've seen him pop in, like usually cameos on sitcoms and stuff. Yeah, but he was enjoyable. I liked watching his interviews and things.
When you reach a certain level of deadpan, that becomes the joke, or that becomes another person who was perfect at that, and I think it was always intentional, was Ben Stein.
Yeah.
Did you ever watch Win Ben Stein's Money?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I loved that show.
And he had a talk show too.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Ben Stein Show.
Yes, that's the one. And I watched that sometimes too. And
for those who don't know, Ben Stein used to be a speechwriter for Nixon.
Yeah.
He was like a prominent member of the government. And then he just became, because of Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Yeah, he was Bueller.
He just became a comedic actor, and that deadpan delivery just became the joke.
You know what else I know him for, weirdly enough? Red Eyes.
Red Eyes?
Yeah, he used to do commercials for Visine.
Yeah, Clear Eyes.
Clear Eyes, that's it, Clear Eyes. Yeah. And it was like all the time.
And it was that same deadpan. Dry, itchy eyes. Use Clear Eyes.
It's still stuck in my head, earworm to this day. Where the beach ball, he pours on the beach ball, and the beach ball is not ready anymore.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Clear Eyes, I never got relief from Clear Eyes. Like if I had red itchy eyes, I'd use Clear Eyes or whatever, and eye drops just never work for me.
Yeah.
Like, it just makes things worse. It's like
when mine are
putting a
like
hat on a
that
hat.
kind of dry or whatever, the Visine does help me on occasion. But it's like once every blue moon. Usually it's in the summer when it's windy and kind of nasty.
I'll be honest, most of the time, because of my glasses and the way that they bend light, it makes my eyes look really small. So people tend to not focus on those anyway.
Well, it's better going the other way.
That's true.
The glasses that make your eyes look like owls.
Oh my gosh, like bubbles.
Yeah. It's like, whoa.
Holy God.
I can see your pupil from space.
Yeah. No, those are awkward. But I did hear that science has developed a specialized eye drop for people who have farsightedness or who need like the readers.
Yeah.
That these eye drops supposedly will make it your need for reading glasses a thing of the past. That you just won't need them. That they'll
when
the
are they
eye
gonna
drops
get
will do the job that the.
When are we gonna get some eye drops to give me like Superman vision? Where I have X-ray vision. I can look at the walls and stuff.
I feel like we're closer now than we've been. I mean, because
that would be cool. Like, hold on. They're cooking a pot roast.
You don't have to make that sound with your mouth every time, Bill.
Right. Can you see through walls? No. You don't know.
That is true. When somebody says they have the ability, like the ability to do a thing that is invisible, you just kind of sort of have to take them at their word.
Exactly.
I can see through walls. I mean, all right. You can't really prove that to me, but okay. I guess you could. I could go to a wall and be like, how many fingers am I holding up? And then you might just guess it right. How do I know?
You never know. 7, 5, shoot.
First of all, how are you going to hold up 7 fingers on one hand? That's a talent, is what that is.
Beetlejuice.
I knew I shouldn't have guessed in the upper 10, the upper 5s. That's my power, is I have the inability to guess correctly.
That's right. You could be a part of, oh shoot, it just went right out of my, the Ben Stiller movie. Mystery Men. Yes, thank you. I was like, I could not remember Mystery Men.
You know what literally just crossed my mind, and I think it's kind of funny just given the temperature of the moment, the climate of the moment. We were talking about Win Ben Stein's Money. Who was his co-host?
Who was his co-host?
Jimmy Kimmel.
Was it Kimmel?
Yep.
No,
I can't believe that just crossed my mind. It's like, yeah, he was the host, and Ben Stein was the.
Was this pre-Man show?
I think it was around the same time.
Okay.
Probably, yeah. I think when Ben Stein was pre-Man show.
Okay.
Because this was like mid '90s, like right when comedy.
So that's probably why I didn't even know who he was then. So I just like, oh, okay.
Right.
I never put two and two together. And let's face it, I didn't watch Ben Stein show on the regular.
Well, and honestly,
I catch it here and there.
They kept that when Ben Stein's Money and the Ben Stein show, they kept it going several years after the shows had wrapped.
Yeah.
It was one of those. Sorry, I'm trying to pop something. It was one of those shows that you didn't really have to know much about or know a story. It was
sure,
you could just pop in for 2 episodes.
Yeah, and that's kind of so I didn't hit on the regular. Probably should get the hour going. I just saw the zit time. Don't forget Football Friday.
Yes.
We got to talking about Ben Stein and everything else. Don't forget Football Friday. Of course, Roswell Coyotes. They're in action tonight here at the Wool Bowl. Mm-hmm. We'll have that game for you right here on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM. Live streaming and video, ksvptv.com. Pre-game will start at 18:30.
Yep, they're taking on Deming.
Yes, 6:30 for Civies.
Goddard Rockets on the road, taking on Lovington at Lovington.
Yep.
Which is a good place to be if you're taking on Lovington.
That's where they're at.
They're not going to be at like Portal, like Ram Stadium. Pre-game 6:30, kickoff at 7, and you can hear that game on La Pantera, 106.1 FM.
Yep, live streaming video at also at ksvptv.com as well. What if they could have been like, we went to Loving.
Right. We got completely confused.
Oh, there's an in-ton.
Oh,
okay.
you forgot to add the ton. Yeah, happens every time. Yeah. And if you're some sort of sicko and you want to watch the Bulldogs play, they're going to be taking on Gadsden at Gadsden, and you can hear that game on AM 990 KSVP AM, and probably better off watching the game at ksvptv.com under the Bulldogs tab.
Yeah, if you're here in town here, of course for Artesia listeners, then by all means, Sean loves the Bulldogs. No, I have a couple Artesia.
I got destroyed at Red Dirt Black Gold.
Did you?
Yes, because I and this is
what'd you do?
This is force of I say it all the time. I said big thanks to Main Street Roswell. Yeah, I got roasted over the fancy coals on that one. I made up for it, like Main Street Artesia, and then they it's Artesia. I literally said into the microphone, I'm from there. Sorry, it just happens. I'm from there.
Boo this man.
Boo this man.
Well, it's just like the rock band, hey, Detroit. We're in Chicago.
That's another Family Guy reference where they form a band, Peter and the guys. Peter goes, hello, Cleveland. Cleveland goes, hello, Peter.
You got to be a fan of the show to get that.
You really do.
I'm not even a big fan. Yeah, you know who the characters are. So, all right, let me give you the rundown. We're going to replay our interview we had with Hunter Spindle, Chief Deputy DA here for the 5th Judicial District. And I've always have great conversations with folks from the DA's office. So we'll play that for you here in just a few. In the 8 o'clock hour, we'll have Chaves County Manager Bill Williams join us, give us an update on what's happening around the county, highlights from the last county commission meeting as well. And then in the 9 o'clock hour, we'll have the folks from the Roswell Chamber join us. I think Gary and Andrew will join us and give us an update on upcoming events, things happening through the Roswell Chamber of Commerce. Plus, we will have all of your newses of the local, national, variety, Wall Street business updates, and whatever else we can come up with for today's show. But first, your weather.
Weather this hour brought to you by Southwest Bearing under new ownership. Custom solutions for your heavy equipment. Hydraulic hoses, hose repair, bearings, seals, sprockets, belts, tools, fluids, and fittings.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. Watch out for a few showers or thunderstorms rolling through later on today. A little bit of humid air moving in from the south. We will have some sunshine, though, mid to upper 80s. Scattered showers and a thunderstorm or two overnight will drop into the low and mid 60s, and then everything should clear out on Saturday. We're expecting a nice weekend, upper 80s and sunny. We're back to the 90s and sunny on Sunday. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Thank you, Steve. Currently 61 degrees here in Roswell. Humidity is at 90%. Winds currently out of the north at 6 miles per hour. We do have a 30% chance at some afternoon showers and thunderstorms. The sweet spot is between noon and 3 p.m. today. Mostly sunny otherwise with the high near 86. Winds will be out of the northeast, 5 to 15 miles per hour. Tonight, also a 30% chance at showers and thunderstorms, mainly before 9 p.m., of course. Mostly cloudy with an overnight low of 62. South winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. I don't know what happened. Now, I'm not complaining that we need rain. You know, we live in the desert. We can't complain about rain. But I don't know what happened to, football's out, turn on the rain clouds, because that's what's happened this year. We could not have a speckle of rain, and then Friday hits and out comes the thunder and the lightning and everything. It's like every week we're having rain delays or something going on. So, of course there will be tonight. But do y'all's rain dance. Whatever you got to do, let's keep our window between, say, 6 p.m. and 10 p.m. free of rain, mostly thunder and lightning, but rain would be nice too. So let's do that. Then after that, let her loose, but in a manageable way. We don't want flooding either. We saw Ruidoso. They're back at it again. Did y'all see that? Jeez, it's ridiculous. But anyway, hopefully the weather will cooperate tonight. But that's it for the rain talk after tonight, because sunny on Saturday, highs near 90. South winds at around 5 miles per hour Sunday. We're looking at sunny skies, 95 for a high. It'll be, dare I say, hot. Winds out of the northwest, 5 to 10 miles per hour. 94 on Monday when you head back to work and school as well. All right, it is 7:22. Let's go ahead and take about a 3.5-minute break, and then we'll play our interview with Hunter Spindle, Chief Deputy District Attorney here in the 5th Judicial District. That conversation's up next. Don't go away.
Over the last few months, there have been several tragedies in our country. Assassinations, school shootings, hateful speech, and unfortunately innocent lives taken, with those around often turning a blind eye to the violence. Are you tired, discouraged, or maybe even a little angry? Are you looking for answers but can't seem to find any? Do you want more than this life seems to offer? People attempt to deal with upheaval with a variety of distractions, from drugs and alcohol to working more to whatever can take their mind off the chaos. But is that the answer? In a letter to new Christians, the Apostle Paul gives them an answer. He writes that Christ is all and in all. In his letters, he explains that our Lord and Savior is the only answer to this fallen world. Nothing else can fill the void. Nothing else will give you the peace that you're craving. If you feel unsatisfied with this life, only Christ can fill that need. Come join us as we try to figure out how to navigate through these changing times.
Join us at the Country Club Road Church of Christ for worship at 10 a.m. on Sunday, located on the corner of Country Club and Washington in Roswell.
Ready, set, hurry on down to Tate Branch Roswell, where we finish first. Experience the Tate Branch difference here at Tate Branch Roswell, where business is done the Tate Branch way with honesty and integrity to deliver an exceptional customer experience. We have a huge selection of pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs that are priced to move and are backed with a lifetime powertrain warranty. It's all backed by friendly, hometown customer service that puts you first every time. So don't wait. Head on down to Tate Branch Roswell right here at 2000 West 2nd Street and drive home happy today. Tate Branch Roswell. Come experience the world-class experience you have been waiting for.
You may have heard the federal government has made some major changes to health insurance, and it could affect your eligibility for coverage or how much money you can save. Schedule an appointment with a Be Well certified assister who will help you navigate these changes and what they mean for you for free. Don't wait. Open enrollment begins November 1st. Schedule an appointment today at BeWellNM.com and let us do the work for you.
Get a great deal on versatile Kubota equipment today. Like the Kubota L-Series compact tractor, the #1 selling compact tractor in the U.S., Z-Series mowers, and Sidekick utility vehicles. Stop by your local Kubota dealer today. Right now, get select L2502 series for as low as $21,999 or $325 per month. Now through September 30th. See us or go to KubotaUSA.com for full disclaimer.
Visit your local Kubota dealer, Amigo Machinery at 2801 Southeast Main Street in Roswell.
Support career and technical education programs for Chavez County. Support the ENMU Roswell Mill Levy. Supporting this mill levy would increase funding for career and technical education programs to prepare students for in-demand jobs in our area, strengthening the local economy and meeting community needs for healthcare professions and skilled laborers. Dual credit students from local high schools will benefit from expanded program options. Increase career and technical education in Chavez County. Support the ENMU Roswell Mill Levy on November 4th. Early voting begins October 7th. Paid for by the ENMU Roswell Foundation.
Pecos Valley Broadcasting has immediate entry and experience level and radio and live stream video sales executive positions open in Artesia and Carlsbad. You'll work with our amazing team to build and maintain accounts and dive into advertising and marketing promotions. Experience in sales is preferred and bilingual opportunities are available. Base guarantee plus bonuses and commissions. Apply now. Email your details or resume to hireme@pvbcradio.com. Take your career to the next level with Pecos Valley Broadcasting, an equal opportunity employer.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. The first toilet being flushed in a motion picture was in the movie Psycho. Mike thought it was Gone with the Wind. Here's Mike Winters.
Joining us in studio this morning from the 5th Judicial District Attorney's Office here. I guess lead deputy?
Chief deputy.
Chief Deputy District Attorney. There's the title. Yep. I know he's the top one. I just don't know the official thing. But Hunter Spindle back with us here. Good morning, Hunter.
Good morning. Thanks for having me again.
So anytime. So how's life at the DA's office? I know it's always busy. It's always going on. But you and I were kind of talking at the beginning, and it just seems like lately there's been a lot of in the news, in the spotlight, a lot of shootings and a lot of things. So and of course all that comes through your office. You know, there's stuff like that going on in Roswell. Your office is seeing it in one way, shape, or form here.
Oh yeah, it's been a busy month. I'll say it that way.
Absolutely.
I mean, we had 4 homicides all year, and then all of a sudden we had 4 in 3-week span.
Sure.
So needless to say, Hunter Spindle had some late nights. I was getting calls and going out to homicide scenes late at night.
Yeah.
So now, as part of my job, that's what I do.
And that's why I was kind of curious. Like, do you guys get involved because you know what, and this is kind of gee whiz making the sausage kind of thing. You know, we watch enough TV and stuff, and you know, we all see a crime scene on TV or at a movie, and you see all the crime scene tape, and there's a bunch of cops around collecting evidence and things, and detectives. But do district attorneys actually, you know, we got the call right now, you guys see it fresh too, as much as the detectives and then the actual data evidence collecting people?
Is it required of me? No.
No. Okay.
But since I'm the person primarily who prosecutes homicides,
it makes complete sense to me.
I like having boots on the ground.
Gotcha.
And I'm that. So half the time, especially if it's late at night, I'm that dude that people are staring at because I'm showing up in sweatpants and a T-shirt,
right?
You know, walking through a crime scene.
You're busy doing family stuff an hour ago. Yeah.
And people are like, "Who's this jackwagon walking through?" You know, acting like he owns the place. Yeah. And people are just coming in, waving, having me, you know, come in. But I like having boots on the ground.
Gotcha.
And so typically, even if I can't go for whatever reason, so if I get a call. Because anytime a homicide happens, how it's supposed to work is I'm supposed to get the call. Mm-hmm. And, you know, most of the time, law enforcement's really good about it. They call me directly. They call my work cell phone and say, hey, we have a homicide. And RPD specifically as a homicide detective, so I know if he's calling me late at night.
You're pretty much.
I'm clued in. I already know it's a homicide.
You've got enough detective skills to put those two together.
I'm like, all right, who died and where?
That's right.
And what is it? You know, and so then I'll typically go out. You know, no matter what time of night it is, whether it's 2, 3 a.m., whatever. Get dressed and drive up, and then I'll go and have them walk me through the crime scene
and kind of give you everything they know so far.
Exactly.
Kind of thing,
And so that's because, I want to have that intimate knowledge and see it with my own eyes. So I'm not trying to piece the pieces of the puzzle together.
I imagine you get a box full of pictures or whatever it is, a jump drive at this point in our digital age here. But yeah, you know what I mean? And yes, and you can kind of get some perspective. But like you said, you can't see the room. You can't see, okay, now this picture, would it have been here or here? Yeah. And how does that relate in terms of where coming? And so when you're there that night and you're saying, okay, I'm seeing the tape, I'm seeing the trail, for me, that makes sense to me now. It makes sense.
And for me personally, like, you know, I try to know all my cases pretty thoroughly, you know, at the very beginning, not just like up to trial. I mean, like from the very get-go. And it really helps me put my, you know, that defendant's name to what is happening or the victim's name to what happened. And if I can see it and go and walk it and be like, all right, you know, I don't have to try to fit those pieces, like you said, looking at pictures, you know, seeing like the structure of a house. I don't have to have the detective say, or, you know,
explain the logistics to me. Yeah.
Draw me the house, you know, so I know how this happened. You know, we had a shooting back not too long ago, and like I walked the house, and it was very evident of what happened, and you know, and I'm like looking through it, but it's because there was so much of the shooting happening in multiple parts of the house. It would have been really hard to understand how things happened unless I was actually in there.
Makes sense.
And I could see it all because you could see the trajectory of the rounds, you know, rounds going which.
Somebody just explained to you the story that there seems like a lot of holes, but then you see the actual environment. Like, okay, that's why it was done that way.
That's why.
Makes sense.
That's why this body is over here, like this way. That's why this person was over there.
And so when the defense tries to shoot that into a hole, you're like, well, it's because of this and that.
Exactly.
So that argument doesn't hold water.
Exactly. Yeah. And so I like going personally, and if I can't go, I'll try to see if I can have one of my other attorneys go. And if not having another attorney, I'll at least try to have one of our investigators go. And we have 3 investigators in our district, one in each office that are all law enforcement.
Gotcha.
And so we'll have one go a lot of times, or you know, at least be involved with it.
So and that probably serves as your kind of Sherpa a little bit. So yeah, obviously but somebody, maybe the younger attorneys who don't have as much experience on crime scenes and things, aren't looking for the same things that, say, someone who's been to a few of these look for. And that's where these investigators, former law enforcement generally, come in and say, okay, this is what you should be looking for. This is what you're missing. You know, they don't teach you everything in law school, folks.
No. And you know,
and you learn from experience, and that
exactly
as you know, obviously at some point you probably walked in one of the scenes and didn't know your head from a hole in the ground, and one of these guys probably kind of walked you through it a little bit.
Well, probably my first 2 or 3 that I went to. You know, I'd prosecuted and I'd even defended, you know, homicides and stuff. So I knew generally what I need to look for because of prosecuting and doing that. But when you get to that first crime scene, I felt a little bit like a fish out of water, you know, feeling like kind of I'm like, what am I doing here? You know, I'm not a detective. Why?
Right.
But as soon as you go in and they walk you through everything, I was like, okay, I'm seeing that. Now I go in and I'm just immediately cluing in to things immediately and looking around. And
I'm going to guess, too, and tell me if I'm wrong on this, but like when the detectives and the law enforcement, they're doing their investigation, the people that are doing it, they're close in, and they're only investigating their little section, whereas you are seeing big picture. So this person could basically go, okay, well, I've been fooling with the blood the whole time. The blood's telling me this. Yeah, but they don't see this part because I'm seeing. And so then is it like that where it's, you know, because the blood people are experts at blood. Let them do their blood stuff, while you got people that are more good at more good, but you know, I'm good at English people, but you know what I mean? They're better at other things. And so I would imagine that's kind of, you know, does it work a little like that at a scene where you're doing your thing, but not necessarily seeing the big picture of the scene sometimes?
Sometimes. Our homicide detectives specifically, and really our detectives, our SID for RPD, they all work hand in hand. The homicide detective here has a really good working knowledge. I mean, he comes in and on most homicides unless he's like out of town, he's the one he's always on call. He's the one who immediately goes in and takes over and has telling other detectives,
delegates who go where to what to when and secure this and that.
Exactly. But he has a really good eye for looking at everything, so he can see stuff sometimes and think about stuff that other people may not. And he'll be like, I need you to do this. At a crime scene, a lot of times you have the initiating officers who get there, and then they're the ones who say, hey, this is a homicide, or we need homicide detectives or whatever. And then you'll have detectives come in, and they may be focused on trying to, search the scene for casings, right? Or, looking for a weapon, or maybe you have someone sitting over there with the victim, talking to the victim and interviewing and what have you. And then you normally have someone who's writing search warrants and getting all of that
lining
done.
up the next leg of the thing. It's like, okay, based on the reports we're getting, we need to go talk to this person, or we need to go back. And
so
that's
we can get TSU, which is like our CSI unit.
And they're
here.
getting ready to probably wake up a judge to say, hey, we need a search warrant for this residence because we believe this. And then they... And generally speaking, the judges, that's pretty standard too, because I imagine it's, they fill out the thing. As long as the warrant checks all the boxes in the judge's mind, they're going to sign it. And but as this is the law. Police just can't go rolling up in your places like this unless a judge says there's a legal need for it to be there.
Right.
And so they got to get those permissions to do that.
Yeah, and that's, yesterday was Constitution Day. That's their constitutional right to not have an unreasonable search and seizure.
Absolutely.
So you got to have probable
this is all good
cause.
stuff, people. This is but yes, and so when you hear of wanting to be judges and stuff, they do get woken up at 2 a.m. from time to go
all the time
to go sign a warrant or to execute some pressing legal and by nature, murder cases are always like this because y'all have seen enough A&E documentaries and things to know that there's a whole series called 48 Hours. If a murder trial isn't solved within 48 hours, it gets really hard to solve it because the evidence gets very cold very quickly after that. So
and luckily for most of our cases this year and really last year, we've had we knew who the suspect was that did it, who would be the defendant. Within, almost immediately,
right?
And if we didn't, it was within a couple hours because checking security camera footage or traffic cams, whatever, pulling all of that.
And I'm and again, this is real life versus Hollywood, because we're so conditioned to watch, these documentaries or these various. Law and Order.
Yeah, we call it the Law and Order effect, CSI effect.
Yeah, all these shows, and they wrap up cases in an hour and all this stuff. But at the end of the day, those are all interesting cases with let's say criminals that are a little more cunning, a little more intelligent. I'm going to say the average murder case for you guys is not all that CSI did. Yes, there's evidence to be gathered and things, but it's not a big mystery on a lot. A lot of times you've got a very good idea of 1 to 2 or a group of people that exactly where this came from. It's not like, who could this be? I don't know. Where's the evidence lead? And next thing you know, they're knocking down some taxi here. And, like a TV show would where you follow the trail up. It's not that sexy or it's not that. A lot of times you could be, look, the guy left his wallet here, or you know what? There's fingerprints right here. There's a big handprint right here. We can analyze that and know real quick. If this guy's got a file, which let's face it, people that are usually involved in these kind of things have a criminal record
typically
already.
Do.
And so that stuff comes. And so to be honest, whatever long it takes for the evidence to be processed, they know pretty much what we're dealing with from the jump there.
Yeah, typically for the vast majority of homicides, they're not the smartest. We do get some smart individuals who are contemplating, thinking about how they can hide their.
Those are the ones that get
evidence.
on Dateline, and they did this whole planning thing and this whole, and they tried to cover it up. Most people aren't that creative.
No, and I don't want to say people are, generally dumb, because that's not, but they're not most criminals are not the brightest.
I'm going to say 9 times out of 10, these are emotional moments, not calculated, planned moments.
A good chunk of it. And of course, deliberate and intentional, which is like what we'd have to charge for first degree murder. That can happen on a quick, sudden minute too. By case law and everything, it doesn't have to be some long out process.
Yeah, exactly.
It can be. It's harder to prove that way, but it's.
But in theory, if you had an argument with someone and said, "I'm coming back with my gun," and then you come back with a gun, that's about all the evidence you need to say that's a murder one rap. You deliberately did things to put this in motion. It wasn't just like you already had the gun and y'all start fighting and pull it out and shot him. That's where it's harder to make the case. But if you literally say, "I'm going to get my gun," and then go leave and get it. And
that's one of the things like I really enjoy about my job and going to scenes. And a lot of times what will happen, especially if they have a suspect in custody almost immediately, I really like listening to the statements by that person or by an eyewitness or whatever, so I can hear it and be like, all right, this is what, immediately my mind is thinking, going through what I've seen, what I'm hearing.
Right.
And so I can start spitballing with the detectives. And, a lot of times when I'm there, what's nice is they'll be like, I have a search warrant. I'll review that search warrant for probable cause. I'll be like, yep, this search warrant's good. Let's send it to a judge.
Right.
And then when they're like, all right, what are you thinking about charges? And immediately I'm going, well, it sounds like second degree.
Sure.
And they're going to be like, well, why can't we do first degree? And we start talking it through, and maybe they'll convince me of first degree murder.
Let's powwow out. But I'm
other
thinking,
times I'm
based
like,
on evidence, this is where I'm at.
Yeah.
If you can convince me otherwise, and let's have that debate.
Yeah. And sometimes it's like, all right, well, there's going to be an argument here, which defense counsel is obviously going to have for voluntary manslaughter, self-defense. And, so I get to spitball that with the detectives, and it's like, all right, how are we going to combat that? Well, we can combat it this way. So obviously if we do that, then we got second degree murder. I know you want first degree. Tell me why you think first degree.
Right.
And it'll be like, well, this and this and this. I'm like, and sometimes it'll be like, yeah, you're right. I think we got enough.
Sure.
We may not stick on first degree
but there's enough
trial,
evidence
but there's
to fight
enough evidence
to at least make
to charge it at that. And be like, or if it's just too weak, and I'm just be like, look, I get it, but it's really weak.
Sure.
And I think we're much better. I don't want to overcharge. The one thing I always want, where I'm trying to be very careful of, is not overcharging people.
Absolutely.
Right? Because if it's one of those things that's like, yeah, I know I can get it past probable cause at a preliminary hearing or whatever on first degree, is that how I want to do it?
Sure.
Because if I'm really focused on, I want to make sure it's not just probable cause for that.
Sure.
I want to be able to put it up to a trial, to a jury, and be like, this is first degree murder.
Sure.
And not have that. Well, maybe I should have done it as second degree because I'm not going to get there.
I'm curious because, you were talking about this. When it comes to those decisions too, does history come into play as far as the accused? Whereas, okay, like I know judges and things, if it's a first time person, they're not always in your system. They'll tend to give those types of people, even for more severe stuff. But when they're constantly in front of the same judges, the same district attorneys all the time.
We have frequent flyers that we know about. Yeah.
So does that come into play sometimes too? It's like, look, now they do the big thing where it's maybe murder one, and you're kind of like, all right, the evidence is on the fence here, but this guy's going to be back at some point or another. Let's throw the hammer now. Let's charge as much we can so we can keep him off the street. Is that a logic thing, or is that where it gets into constitutional problems?
There's a little bit of a gray area there.
Yeah.
I mean, it does come into play, right?
Yeah.
But constitutionally and all of that, I'm always very cognizant of the defendant's rights as well as the victims.
Sure.
But I'm like I said, I never want to overcharge. Now, if someone has a long history or someone's been violent, that tends to make me think this is more first degree, willful and deliberate. that level of intent may be higher.
Gotcha.
And looking at the past history. So I may be more willing to go for with the first degree, seeking seeking that because I can use his past history with a pretrial detention motion.
Can you use that as a legal argument saying clearly the punishments we've been given in the past are not rehabilitating this person? We need to drop the hammer, and that can be a legal argument for you. Yes.
For holding them in pretrial detention.
Gotcha.
It's not going to go for real to the charges per se.
Gotcha.
But it may be that me and Diana Luce, the district attorney, and other attorneys may look at it, and as well as the police, law enforcement, may look at it through the lens of, no, this guy deliberately committed this murder.
Right.
And while the evidence maybe is just over that legal, the probable cause on it, it maybe make me more willing to sign off on it that way.
Sure.
And so it'd be like, let's keep digging and make this part of it stronger.
Sure.
Now, if it gets to the point where it's like, by the time we get to trial, I'm like, we still haven't gotten there, then, that may mean I have to do a better plea. I may have to make a plea offer to a second.
Sure.
But even sometimes if it's right on the fence, I'll be like, nope, it's a first degree. We're going to go to trial on first degree. And if I don't win, I don't win, and go about it that way.
So I'm also curious too, because and this is separate TV court versus actual strategy and how lawyers do this. Is a lot of times I'll hear things in these shows, your Lincoln Lawyer types, and these they're all fun shows, by the way. But they're complete horse hockey on a lot of the legal side. But anyway, a tactic they'll do. It's like, look, I know I legally can't present this as evidence, but if I'm making a mention here and I know the attorney's going to shoot it down, but I want the jury to hear this. I mean, is that a common? And what I'm trying to get at on some of that is the history
they know it's
here,
going to be objected to.
Yeah, and you're like, well, this guy's clearly been arrested 57 times, and then I object. That's irrelevant or whatever. But you want to say it just so the jury hears that this guy's got a history. I mean, is that a legit tactic in some of the where it's not?
You can't do it.
Okay, that's what I was curious about that because the way I was hearing the way we're talking in charge, and I was like, well, I wonder if that gets into that world a little bit where you just threaten or use it in court, not necessarily because you're trying. It's not going to stick, but you want to cement the lesser thing in the mind of the jury.
So that would be first off grounds for a mistrial.
Gotcha. See, this is where I'm kind of like that feels like a common tactic in every single of these types of cases.
That's made for television, not for actuality and what happens in jury trials. If I give a notice of like prior bad acts and that sort of stuff, I have to. So in New Mexico specifically, I'll just say it that way. I have to file what's called a 403B notice.
Okay.
Yeah. And 404B, I apologize. 404B notice.
No one's going to check you.
Yeah, I know. Which is crime, crimes, prior bad acts, that sort of thing.
Right.
And in that notice, I have to lay out exactly how I'm going to use it and why. And defense has the right to basically fight against that, trying to keep me from being able to do that.
Okay.
And then it's up to the judge saying, yes, this is not overly prejudicial.
Gotcha.
If I just blurt it out or ask a question about it, or if defense brings it up, which they never would unless there's specifically some reason.
Gotcha.
But if I just ask a question about it, it's grounds for a mistrial.
Okay.
And then after that, because I created the ground for the mistrial by asking a question I'm not allowed to ask, because it's deemed by case law, by statute, that sort of stuff, to
Makes
be
sense.
overly prejudicial and not have probative value. That's the term of art. Because I caused that, I may not be able to retry the case.
Because you've tainted it too much for a fair trial to be possible.
Correct. So now they could move in order to prevent me from being able to retry the case. It could also prevent the judge from finding what's called manifest necessity in order to allow me to retry the case. Basically saying that because I created the need for a mistrial, double jeopardy has attached. Now I can no longer retry the case.
Just in theory, you've tried already here.
Right. And then I could also be brought up on sanctions for ethics grounds. And that could which could make me lose my license or some sort of other sanction from the state bar.
Gotcha.
And so as attorneys, and while it makes for good television, I always have to be very cognizant of my legal license.
Sure.
And while maybe the public doesn't like sometimes actions we have to do,
sure,
we have to always first and foremost think about our own law license, because I can't keep doing what I'm doing if my license is gone.
Exactly.
So, and I have to stick within the rules of ethics and within the rules of the Constitution. And that's something we have to think about every minute of every day.
Well, and this is also the burden that is the prosecution side of a court case here,
Right.
whereas at the end of the day, the defendant has more rights than the government does in these situations. And by design, and this is a good thing. I'm not trying to say this like it's a bad thing. And at the end of the day, if the defense screws up, there's recourse for the defendant to have a do-over, so to speak.
Right.
If the prosecution screws up, then it's done. Because
most of the time, not always, but most of the time.
But because at that point, the prosecution doesn't have the luxury of being wrong. You have to be right or it's not happening.
Right.
And if you do anything, even if the person's guilty of sin, if you don't do it by the book, even if it's accidental, I mean, a lot of the times these aren't deliberate. These are just a mistake was made. And so that's why it's so important. And this is really why, what you guys do is so commendable and respectful, because you have, a defense attorney, they get all the fancy headlines and the golf course and the money, and the big money and the high dollar and the attention. But the prosecutors are the ones that are actually the ones that fall on the swords, that have at the end of the day, have the overall responsibility of, like, a defense attorney can fly fast and loose and just, that's what they do.
Well, and we're always the bad guy to someone. Either we're the bad guy to the defendant's family, to the victim's family, but regardless of our actions, the only time we're ever praised is if we go to trial on a first-degree murder.
And you're representing
and
authority. And by default, that makes you bad in some people's life.
I did the Eastern New Mexico University Roswell yesterday asked me to be their keynote speaker for Constitution Day.
Oh, cool!
And so I was given a talk there yesterday for an hour. I did a lecture to college students, high school students, and some faculty and staff. And I walked through the amendments of the Constitution, and I told them that my job is a walk through constitutional amendments every day, every minute of the day. The Fourth Amendment, the Fifth Amendment, the Sixth, the Eighth, the 14th. Like I have to go through that. Sometimes even looking at the First and the Second. You know, about was this person Mirandized correctly?
Sure.
Was this was
it done by the book?
Was it done by the book?
Yeah.
Was the search unreasonable? Was it, did they need a warrant? Did they not need a warrant? Was everything done by the book?
Right.
Is this actually a crime because, this person had a firearm he's not supposed to?
Yeah.
But is he a felon under the law? Was that within 10 years?
Did someone act overzealous here?
Exactly.
Okay, he's here, but was the evidence obtained legally? Okay,
Right.
that's that's the thing. That's the stuff you weigh, and you guys don't have the luxury of working around that. So that's why I respect what you guys do so much. Is you don't and not get me wrong, attorneys and even defense attorneys are good ones. There's a lot of great ones, but at the end of the day, you guys are held under the fire way more than a defense attorney.
We have a much higher burden and a much higher rules of ethics in which that we have to adhere to because for both public trust as well as constitutional rights and that
absolutely,
sort of thing.
Which, by the way,
and because we swear an oth to it.
And if you guys didn't, the whole system comes down. So that's what it is. We're almost out of time, but I do want to mention this before we go. Don't forget the DA dog, the court dog facility. I'm going to get this
golf
right.
tournament.
Yeah, the golf tournament's coming up for the DA dogs.
Yes.
That's what I'm trying to say.
In October. I figured that's where you were going.
Yeah, I'm like split it up. I'll get it out eventually. But yes, October 18th at the NMMI Golf Course. Come out and support the great DA Dog program. We've talked a bunch about the great work that really got started right here in the 5th Judicial District. So it'll be 9 a.m. shotgun start on October 18th. You can sign up your teams at the NMMI Golf Course. I believe there's still a few sponsorship opportunities. Call Gina direct. You can call Gina Yeager. She's the DA Dog mom, and of course, the point of contact for the tournament.
Please sponsor us. We need more.
Please, yeah. T-Box, title sponsors, all of the above here. 575-626-2422. Again, that's Gina's number, 575-626-2422. Or call the NIMBY Pro Shop, 575-622-6033. Again, 622-6033. Or just come by the pro shop and you can sign your teams up. And of course, like all tournaments, if you have a 3-team, you can sign up as a team. Or if you you don't have 2 other friends, just come on. He'll find you some.
They'll take you somewhere.
And of course, please, it's $100 per player, $300 per team. And if you leave hungry, it's your own fault because they're going to have breakfast, lunch, drinks, drawings, raffles, cash prizes. First place is $450, $300 for second, $225 for third place. But at the end of the day, this is all about raising as much money as possible. So, because to be honest, the DA Dog program needs to be state federally funded the way I see it. But
and it's not.
And it's
With your Pecos Valley News Update, I'm Jared Cirillo. New Mexico's state land office recently held its second-best auction ever of oil and gas leases. The auction brought in $117 million, including one Eddy County tract that sold for $175,000 per acre. Eddy County, of course, makes up part of the oil-rich Permian Basin. The previous record was $132,500 per acre. The Santa Fe New Mexican reports that 8 of the 11 leases were leased under higher royalty rates. The state legislature had approved a bill earlier this year boosting the royalty rate to a maximum 25% for prime tracts. The Black Wings exhibit is now on display at the Artesia Historical Museum. The traveling Smithsonian exhibit highlights the contributions made by African Americans in aviation history. The entire museum, including this exhibit, is no charge. It's free admission. Visit the museum at 505 West Richardson in Artesia. You're up to date. I'm Jared Cirillo.
It's time for the Chavez County Sports Report. Football Friday night, and the Roswell Coyotes are at home at the Wool Bowl against winless Deming. It starts at 7 o'clock. Roswell 2-2 after edging Lovington last week 18-13. Lovington is the foe for Goddard. Goddard's 3-1. Lovington is 1-3. That game in Lovington starting at 7 o'clock. The Rockets blanked Santa Teresa 54-0 last week. Dexter playing at Hatch Valley Saturday. Tomorrow at 1 o'clock, Dexter's 2-1. Hatch Valley is 2-2. NMMI will be at home against Hot Springs tonight at 7 o'clock. The Colts beaten by Chaparral on the road last week, 49-24. In 8-man football, Hagerman at Mescalero tonight at 7 o'clock. Gateway Christian hosting Mesilla Valley tonight at 6 o'clock. The Sports Report brought to you by DSI. Call DSI for all your office technology needs. I'm Eric Butler at Roswell's Talk FM 106.5.
What does it mean for a roofing contractor to have heart? How about braving a 24-hour road trip with a bad back and a 20-foot-long trailer through Interstate 40? You heard that right. A local business needed a new roof, but this business did not want just any roof. They desired a schoolhouse roof with red shingles. Well, we wanted to give our customers exactly what they were asking for. The only problem was that the red color of shingle they were looking for had been discontinued in our local region. But we didn't give up then. We were told by our supplier that the schoolhouse red color of shingle that we were looking for was still available in Arkansas. So we did what was expected of us and drove 24 hours, and we delivered on our promise. If you need a roofer who delivers on their promises, call Trustmark Roofing today at 575-755-7663.
Trustmark Roofing, we put people first.
Coach, question for you over here.
Coach, can you talk about the latest trade rumors?
Absolutely. Right now, you can get big money for your trade at Roswell Ford.
Start your season with a win at Roswell Ford. Right now, we need trades. So if you're making payments on your current vehicle and want out early, Roswell Ford will do whatever it takes to help you escape from your trade. Even if you owe thousands more than it's worth, regardless of make, miles, or condition. With 0% APR and no payments for 90 days. Worried about your credit? Don't sweat it. Roswell Ford has partnered with more aggressive lenders who will push to approve your credit with great terms, with good credit, no credit, or even if your credit is less than perfect. All roads lead to huge American-made savings, more for your trade, and a better buying experience. Get on board at Roswell Ford, 821 North Main Street in beautiful Roswell. Call 575-623-3673 or online at roswellford.com. 0 APR for 48 months is $28.83 per thousand finance. Interest accrues from date of sale, subject to lender approval on select vehicles. Offers not combined.
Bill Cunningham is now in Roswell on 106.5 FM KEND Roswell.
Sir Richard Moore is head of Britain's MI6 overseas intelligence agencies, nearing the end of his 5-year tenure in that post. When asked about the lack of progress in ending the bloodshed in Ukraine, President Trump expresses disappointment, saying that Putin has, in the president's words, let me down. Mr. Trump spoke at the close of his 2-day state visit to the UK, vowing that the Allies will be forever friends.
The bond between our countries is like no other anywhere in the world. The United States and the United Kingdom have done more good on this planet than any two nations in human history.
British Prime Minister Starmer telling the president,
we're among friends, and I think we all agree there's so much to celebrate in the special relationship between our two countries. By standing together in war and in peace, this bond is the very foundation of our security, our freedom, and our prosperity.
President Trump is hoping to finalize a deal with China, one that will keep TikTok up and running in America.
4 times since taking office in January, the president has extended a deadline for TikTok to sell its assets to an American company or face a ban. Earlier this week, the administration announced a framework deal.
The people that are investing in it are among the greatest investors in the world, the biggest, the richest, and they'll do a great job.
The president plans to speak with Chinese President Xi today to finalize that deal. Greg Clugston, Washington.
The Dow is up 53 points and NASDAQ ahead 100. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Here's an important message from the Diabetes Solution Center. Do you like pricking your fingers to test your blood sugar levels? No one does, but it's important to maintain your health. And now, by wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you don't need to prick your fingers anymore. It's easy to use and helps you make more accurate diabetes treatment decisions. If you are testing your blood sugar 3 or more times daily, injecting insulin, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now. And if you have Medicare or most major insurance coverage, you may be able to get a new CGM at little to no out-of-pocket cost. Shipping is free, and we'll even bill your insurance company for you. If you are testing your blood sugar 3 or more times daily, injecting insulin, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now to learn how to end the painful finger sticks and get your own continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, at little to no out-of-pocket cost.
The loss of life in the 30-year conflict in Northern Ireland, known as the Troubles, the subject of a new agreement between the British and the Irish governments.
The question of how killings from the conflict should be investigated has never been resolved. Irish ministers opposed a law brought in by the last Conservative government which provided for a conditional amnesty for suspects who would cooperate with the Commission. The legislation was also criticised by most victims groups and all political parties at Stormont. It's understood the new agreement will see an overhaul of the agency which investigates deaths. It'll be renamed the Legacy Commission and will be able to carry out criminal investigations.
The BBC's Chris Page. Protesters have hit France with mass transit strikes, demonstrations and blockades, targeting the Paris metro and other services, a protest of President Emmanuel Macron's plans to cut funding for public services. News and analysis, townhall.com. Leadership turmoil at a major institution of higher learning.
Texas A&M University's president stepping down following criticism over a classroom video that showed a student objecting to a children's literature lesson about gender. Initially, that had led to the professor's firing. The resignation, though, of school president Mark A. Welsh III was announced Thursday by Chancellor Glenn Hager. He says it was, quote, the right moment for change at one of the largest universities in America. Welsh's departure comes after the video put him under criticism by a number of GOP lawmakers. Jason Walker reporting.
President Trump is asking the Supreme Court for an emergency order to remove Lisa Cook from the Federal Reserve's Board of Governors. An appeals court rejected his attempt to oust Cook. More on these stories at townhall.com.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man on this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The Travelician, what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 6 minutes after 8 o'clock. Welcome to hour number 2. Deuces of Mornings with Mike Winters right here on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM. Buenos Friday. Happy Friday, everybody.
Indubitably.
Yeah.
Yes.
Football Friday.
Yeah, Football Friday for sure.
Coyotes in action tonight.
At home at the Wool Bowl.
Yep. And we'll have that game for you right here, 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM. Live streaming video, ksvptv.com. Kickoffs at 7, pregame at 6:30.
Yes.
Got it. Rockets are on the road in the Blue Bowl there at Lovington, Nuevo Mexico, taking on the Wildcats. That game will be on our sister station, 106.1 FM La Pantera. That game will also start at 6:30, pregame, kickoff at 7. And Bulldogs, they are in action as well. I forget who they playing.
Bulldogs are taking on, I literally forgot myself.
By the way, Coyotes are hosting Deming. I think I forgot to say that. It's homecoming tonight.
Yes.
Yeah.
Darn.
Which means I'm going to think halftime's going to be a little longer.
They're facing Gadsden.
The Panther. Oh, that's right. They're going to Gadsden.
Look out, everybody, at the Panther.
Yes. That's with the DSDs. That game will be on our other Easter station, 990 AM KSVP. But your best bet to check it out here in Roswell will be on our video stream, ksvptv.com, and the Bulldog channel, because it's an AM station, and FCC makes us power down in the evening hours so we don't bleed into Utah and parts unknown.
It is weird how, like, we have to power down AM, or AM decides to consume the nation.
Yes. It goes forever, unless you're under a bridge.
AM is insanely powerful when the sun goes down.
Unless you're under a bridge.
Unless you're under a bridge. God forbid in a carport.
Yeah, it's weird how that works. Science. I'm supposed to know some of that. I don't.
I always forget too, because like if you ever like are in a car with Sirius, you're like jamming out and you're in a car wash, all of a sudden, oh hey, what happened? Oh, that's right. I forgot.
it really depends on where they put the that little antenna on your vehicle. Because like on my vehicle, I had the Sirius for a month, and so I checked it out while I had it. I'm not paying for it, but they gave me a free month of it, so I was listening to a lot of Hair Nation and metal stuff and all that. But anyway, anytime I'd go to Sonic, that would get me every time. I'm like diddy bopping along, and I pull into the little parking spot to wait for my food, and all of a sudden, and she. Oh man! And then I start trying to back up a little bit, like if I just like an inch, I can get it. Signal. I'm right on the edge.
And the guy behind you,
I'm
not going to hit you.
Listen to my music.
You know where I'm going. I remember when, and I believe this was right around the time of the Mix 106 days, when Stern came to Sirius. How excited young Michael was, because it was an ordeal. Like, it was a whole thing. They gave Stern not one channel, but 2 channels.
Yeah.
The first of which dedicated to news related to the show. Not world news, but stuff that happened on the show. They would play episode recaps and news about the Whack Packers.
That was one of the early show about a show shows.
It really was. I mean, and then you had, and this was what always made me laugh. Like, you have a 4-hour show, and you're going to tell me we need an after show for that show.
Yeah.
Like, that bled over into the O&A world, because when O&A was on XM before they merged, they had the O&A after show, and that's actually what begat Sam Roberts.
Gotcha.
Who is now kind of like propelled his career to like new heights with him and he and Jim's morning show, Jim Norton, and also working for the WWE as commentary.
And I think that stuff kind of actually started a little bit on terrestrial radio.
Yeah.
Because before he jumped to Sirius, his show was like 5 hours. Like he went on at 6, and he didn't go off air till 11 a.m. Right now, he would sometimes go till like 10:35 or something, but at this point, stations just programmed him till 11.
Right.
So they literally have some kind of after show, or they would replay the first part of the show. So that really started in terrestrial radio, and then it carried over to 2 whole programs. And I remember when Stern first flipped to Sirius, that second channel, Howard 101, was, like you said, it was news and all that, but they didn't really know what to do with it for the first couple years. And eventually they started putting alternative Bubba the Love Sponge. And
and that's sort of what that became, was like the MTV2 of that like generation of satellite radio.
Yeah.
But at first, you're absolutely right. It was just like every on the 5s, they would have, you'd hear like literally the news ticker sound, and then it would be like Gary Delabate or whoever just running down what happened on that day's show.
Yeah, and then I believe they would run the West Coast feed like live on 101 or something. Like if you wanted to listen to Stern at like 6 a.m. on the West Coast, the 101 would have his show kind of live or preempted. You know what I mean? They would do it on that thing.
And that was a big deal too.
Yep.
That was I mean, that was a huge thing with Howard coming over. I mean, the millions upon millions, and even from the perspective of, like I said, I was an O&A fan, so when they finally merged, there was the whole, he had a wing of the building that they were in that you weren't allowed to go into. He had a rule that you couldn't make eye contact with him in the hallway.
Yeah, I've
he
heard
was
that
like
kind of stuff.
He was like the head of like if Howard spoke, the heads of Sirius listened, and it became, and he ruled that place for a decade.
I think he still does.
I mean, he has the ability to, but I don't think he's got the listenership.
Oh, no. He don't have the draw.
He didn't have the stroke, I think, that he used to have. But the problem is with Sirius is they've backed themselves into a corner, because what's left?
Yep.
We're not in the age of radio legends anymore.
Stern will be on Sirius as long as he wants to be on Sirius.
Right. Did he? I don't know did he sign a new contract?
No, he hasn't. But if he wants to, he's going to have to take a pay cut. Oh, like they ain't gonna pay him what they're paying him now. But if he wants to stay on Sirius, I think Sirius will let him stay on Sirius. I've kind of heard, and he's our bread and butter. He's what brought us here, and so
it's like they
are backing him.
They tried with other people, like they gave Oprah a shot, like they gave her a channel, and that just sort of flopped out. And Martha Stewart was kind of a flop. There's nobody of that ilk left, I don't think.
I think they sprinkled throughout. Yeah, they do. Like what's her name? McCarthy's got a show on there.
Yeah, but it's never gonna be.
No, but I mean, as far as the cavalcade of celebrities, they got a bunch of them. I think I feel like just about every doesn't Trejo have a show on Sirius somewhere? Probably. I feel like a bunch of them have somewhere in the lexicon of their channels.
Now it's shows are being given to Twitch streamers / YouTubers who are like making a name for themselves.
Well, it makes sense. I mean, it's
where people are listening.
Yep.
It's where the ears of America happen to be. Hey, I know we got a guest we got to get to. But I had a chance to check out in its entirety, and it's a long boy, the 2-part Charlie Sheen documentary.
Oh, I do want to see that. Was it good?
It's very interesting. There's some things that I never knew.
I'm would like to check it out.
I'd like for you to check it out so we could discuss, because there's some spoilers I don't want to get to.
Yeah.
But there's some very interesting things that are revealed in this.
Maybe this weekend I'll get a chance. I'm not. See, I kind of brought it out there to see if my wife was interested in seeing it, and I don't think I got the response I was expecting.
You know what?
I don't think she's in.
Your wife is a child of the 80s.
Yeah.
She's in. Trust me.
That's what I figured.
Trust me. This movie is nothing but Brat Packers, and they talk a lot about his days as Wild Thing, and kind of it's very interesting the way they lay it out, because it's the first half of the documentary, the first part is obviously his childhood.
You're growing up, famous dad,
and then the early / middle years of Sheen. Like it wraps right about the time that 2.5 Men starts.
Okay,
and then it sort of goes from there in the second half.
Gotcha.
So the second half, you can expect a lot of
the tiger's blood,
a lot of debaucherous information,
winning.
But I will say this: it's rather interesting the way they hook you at the end, because because it's 2.5-hour parts.
So 3 hours.
A 3 hour
of Charlie.
Right.
Yeah.
And you're right about the middle of part 2, and you're like, okay, I think I've seen everything. And then they hit you with the okay. Like the guy who was doing the interview, he's like, okay, it's time to get into it. Let's talk about the stuff that nobody knows. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm back.
All right. Get the popcorn.
All right, now we get to dessert.
Okay.
All right, cool. And that's where things kind of go off the rails and some stuff that you never knew before.
Okay.
Or you did, but you didn't know it to the extent that you learned.
Okay.
In the second.
This is where he gets the legacy portion of his life here, I'm guessing. Yeah. All right.
It's like I said, I don't want to spoil it for you.
Gotcha.
And for those out there, but I will say you've got a few days, because when Mike watches it, that's when we'll discuss here on the air. So if you want to not be spoiled,
I will do the pitch to my wife and see if she'll watch it with this weekend. Otherwise, I'll check it out.
My wife never gets old.
But I will see it.
Yes.
All right. Chavis County Manager Bill Williams here to give us an update on county biz and county commission meeting. So we'll have him join us here in just a bit. We'll also get you up to date with news and all that good stuff as well. It is 8:17. Let us get you up to date with your weather.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. Watch out for a few showers or thunderstorms rolling through later on today. A little bit of humid air moving in from the south. We will have some sunshine, though, mid to upper 80s. Scattered showers and a thunderstorm or two overnight will drop into the low and mid 60s, and then everything should clear out on Saturday. We're expecting a nice weekend, upper 80s and sunny. We're back to the 90s and sunny on Sunday. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Thank you, Steve. Currently 65 degrees here in Roswell. Humidity is at 81%. Winds currently out of the north at 3 miles per hour. We have a 30% chance at some rain for this afternoon between the hours of noon and 3 p.m. is what they're telling me. Partly cloudy otherwise, with a high near 86 today with south winds 5 to 15 miles per hour. Tonight, we're looking at a 30% chance of rain as well, mainly before 9 p.m. and it's Football Friday, so might as well make it 100 because that's just what's been doing every Friday now, it seems like. I hope I'm wrong. Please, I hope I'm wrong. But if I'm a betting man, just saying. Mostly cloudy, 62 for an overnight low. South winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. And then that's it for rain talk for the foreseeable future. Saturday, sunny, highs near 90. Winds out of the south at 5 miles per hour. Sunny and 95 on Sunday. With winds out of the west, 5 to 10, and then 94 and sunny when you head back to it on Monday. All right, it is 19 minutes after 8 o'clock. Let's go ahead. We're going to take a 3.5-minute break, and then Chaves County Manager Bill Williams will join us here on the other side. Don't go away. You're listening to Mornings with Mike Winters.
When you or a loved one need medical transport, Trans-Aero answers the call. Trans-Aero Medevac operates 3 rotorcraft bases and 1 fixed-wing base in southeastern New Mexico, allowing them to respond quickly to emergencies across diverse terrains. Their fleet extends coverage deep into New Mexico and West Texas, including Artesia, Carlsbad, Roswell, Ruidoso, Midland, Lubbock, and the surrounding areas, ready to answer the call when every second counts. Trans-Aero Medevac, proudly serving southeastern New Mexico and West Texas. Flown for free, thanks to the partnership from the City of Artesia and Trans-Aero Medevac. Life support by air.
Over the last few months, there have been several tragedies in our country. Assassinations, school shootings, hateful speech, and unfortunately, innocent lives taken with those around often turning a blind eye to the violence. Are you tired, discouraged, or maybe even a little angry? Are you looking for answers but can't seem to find any? Do you want more than this life seems to offer? People attempt to deal with upheaval with a variety of distractions, from drugs and alcohol to working more to whatever can take their mind off the chaos. But is that the answer? In a letter to new Christians, the Apostle Paul gives them an answer. He writes that Christ is all and in all. In his letters, he explains that our Lord and Savior is the only answer to this fallen world. Nothing else can fill the void. Nothing else will give you the peace that you're craving. If you feel unsatisfied with this life, only Christ can fill that need. Come join us as we try to figure out how to navigate through these changing times.
Join us at the Country Club Road Church of Christ for worship at 10 a.m. on Sunday, located on the corner of Country Club and Washington in Roswell.
Bush Appliance presents Adventures with Spinal Tap.
Look at this one right here. It's on, working all the time.
I mean, yeah, it's a Frigidaire fridge.
Well, when you don't want to worry about all the mucky muck. Yeah. Now look, this one right here, this is special too. Still got the old tagger on it. It's never been used.
Well, yeah, I mean, they have to put those tags on there.
Don't touch it.
I wasn't going to touch it.
No, don't touch it.
Look, I was just pointing at it, okay?
Well, don't point even.
Don't even point? Can I look at it?
No, you've seen enough of that one.
This has been Adventures in Spinal Tap, brought to you by Bush Appliance. Who are you going to call? Bush Appliance in Roswell. Stop by 111 West Country Club Road in Roswell or call 575-622-6390. We could be at 110 West Country Club Road, but our address goes to 11.
When managing a chronic illness, access to the right treatments makes all the difference. Artesia General Hospital's Infusion Center provides IV therapy and biologic treatments, so you don't have to travel far for care. Expert infusion therapy right here in Artesia. Call 575-736-8256 today to learn more.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. Elephants use these skin folds on their bodies to crush mosquitoes. Mike Winters uses his to hide M&Ms. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 23 minutes after 8 o'clock, and joining us in the studio this morning, Chaves County Manager Bill Williams back with us. Good morning, Bill. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Good morning.
How's of course, it's, with the fairs and everything, it just feels like, we just had air races. Now we're a week away from fair. It's just busy.
Yeah. It's just been really busy in our community. It's really something.
Yeah. So
excitement, I guess, the air races, pulling off a successful air race that was loved by so many of the pilots and the people that came.
Yeah,
it's only going to get better.
To be honest, I think it went better than anticipated. I think I was kind of hoping for the best, expecting the worst, and I think overall it was for number one time. Was there hiccups? Absolutely, but you know what? It was amazing experience. People that went out to the event, I heard nothing but
Positive,
clean,
everything positive.
Plenty of food. The one thing is people saying it was hot, not enough shade. Okay, well, it's New Mexico. That's what's happening.
In September.
And the shade, all right, okay. Lesson noted. Let's work on that.
Yeah, but what do you do for shade? If you're looking up at the sky to see airplanes and you cover it up, there's some things that I would think would be
a little harder to
accomplish.
Yeah.
But Roswell shined again the way we usually do. We're a very generous community, and everybody came in and says, "Wow, I can't believe how nice the people are." Oh my goodness!
Yeah, I heard that consistently
over
too.
And over. It's really good. And the city, they promised that they would have a race, and they did. They accomplished the main goal was to have everything set up for a race, and they did that. And like I say, of course, it's going to improve over the next years. They did it for 62 years in Reno at Stead Air Force Base, and I guarantee the first year it probably wasn't anywhere near as nice as this.
Yeah.
And from what I've heard, even during the last years, the racetrack and the ability to grow into what they really want wasn't as nice.
Sure.
As this. So we're really fortunate. So many people work so hard on that.
And the future is definitely bright on this. And I feel like for year one, that was a 100% victory.
It was really good. So looking forward to other stuff. And
absolutely.
Now the fair's coming, and the kids will all be out there supporting the kids with their livestock.
Absolutely. Matter of fact, technically, if you're doing the arts and crafts and stuff, turn-in starts today.
Yeah, it has already begun.
Yes, not the food. Leave the pies and the baked goods and all that till next week. But a lot of your textile, your dresses, the arts and crafts stuff, pretty much anything isn't food. That turn-in start today for that stuff. So.
Well, and Rick Ford, Miss Robertson are working really hard to make sure everything's ready to go at the fair. And I know there's many others out there as well. Officials and it's not something that they just wake up that morning and go, okay, today's fair day.
They're a well-oiled machine over there.
They do a really good job over there, don't they?
They do.
They really do a good job. We had a couple of presentations or proclamations at the very beginning of our meeting yesterday, and we did one a little different than usual. Today is National Stillbirth Awareness Day.
Okay.
And Eastern New Mexico Medical Center, we had a proclamation prepared for the commissioners, prepared a proclamation to acknowledge that and support that effort, I guess.
Sure.
And we had the CEO of the hospital, Warren Yale, came, and he actually read the proclamation on behalf of the Chaves County Board of Commissioners.
Awesome.
And then, of course, we presented it to the hospital so they can put it in their OBGYN ward or whatever.
Sure.
I'm not sure exactly what area it goes in, but anyway, we were really excited to see that. Like I said, it was something a little different to have someone from the public read the proclamation. It was kind of a
nice change of pace.
Twist.
Yeah. Well, good. Well, and of course, Warren's a great guy. So
and he introduced his new assistant. So that was a good time. We're looking forward to working with him as well.
I need one of those assistants.
You sure do.
I need one of those to follow me around.
Yeah, we need one of those.
I don't drink coffee, so I'm a little easy on that.
Two of those.
I could
for you.
Or a harem of them. I need about 12 of them.
To pull you back to the line, it probably will take two. The other proclamation we did yesterday was for Dale Rogers.
Oh, okay.
Dale Rogers, Roswell Farm and Livestock Supply. In 1972, he moved to Roswell and started the Roswell Livestock Auction. And then Rochelle, his daughter, told me that in 1975, he got upset that he couldn't find the parts he was looking for, and so he opened Roswell Livestock and Farm Supply.
There you go.
In 1975. And Dale's not a guy to sit around and wait on things. He's always first in the room. And in fact, our meetings start at 9:00, and Dale is always early. He's not even close to being late.
You're on time, you're late, right?
So Dale was there very early yesterday, and we presented him a proclamation. Dale Chaves County has had zoning in Chaves County since 1981.
Okay.
Dale Rogers was on the Planning and Zoning Committee since 1982.
Wow.
We've had zoning in Chaves County for 44 years. Dale Rogers was on the Planning and Zoning Committee for 43 years.
Wow.
44. Let's see, 44 years we've had it. 43, Dale was a member of that. So nearly every zoning decision in Chaves County
He's in the room
ever
for
been made, Dale Rogers was involved with.
Yeah.
And then we did a calculation of how many meetings there have been since 1982.
Yeah.
And there have been 516 zoning meetings since 1982, since Dale's been on. Dale missed less than 2% of those meetings.
Wow.
I think it was like 1.89%. It was 10 meetings, I think, in 43 years is all that Dale missed.
Pretty good track record. Yeah.
And, he's just really one of the people, volunteers are what make a lot of things happen. We were just talking about the air show. And of course, that takes hundreds of volunteers to run the air show. I've heard as many as 1,200 volunteers to run that air show.
Easy, yeah.
We've got planning and zoning. We've got ETZ. We've got city things. We've got all the 501c3s and these organizations that provide for our communities. And they're all made up of volunteers. And then you get someone like Dale that's in there for 43 years, always taking it serious, always being the first one there.
Sure.
And considerate of people's time, making sure things.
It's real service to the community. Yeah.
And asking the right questions to get to the root of what the request.
Sure. What makes sense the best for planning and zoning wise.
So that was really a really fun thing to see Dale Rogers get in. Of course, Dale is so humble, he kind of.
Yeah. And I imagine, over the years, there could be some contested, disputed stuff over those years too. And he's dedicated.
I'm certain that he's heard it all. Yeah. Sure. So
talk about, land and water and money. That all gets things going real well. They'll get the cackles up real quick.
So we had a quorum yesterday, but we were one commissioner short.
Okay.
Michael Perry was representing Chaves County Board of Commissioners at the Permian Basin Petroleum Association's annual meeting, convention in Odessa, I think it was. It might have been Midland this year, but anyway, Midland or Odessa area. He was down there representing.
So he was on assignment.
We've been partnering with them over the last 10, 15, maybe 20 years on a variety of different things. Federal government tends to try to overreach, and we've had those conversations many times. In fact, the Lesser Prairie Chicken is one of the latest ones, and the Permian Basin Petroleum Association, as well as Chaves County and other counties and other entities, joined in a lawsuit to oppose the Lesser Prairie Chicken. Well, in 2014, we opposed the Lesser Prairie Chicken even being listed as a threatened species because the science didn't back it up. Their very own science didn't back it up. And,
that's bad when your own guys.
And we were successful in court.
Right.
The federal judge says, "Oh, you're right. This doesn't even warrant
being
listed as a threatened species, much less anything more." And however, unprecedented cooperation between agriculture, industry, oil and gas. Everyone said, we don't want this to affect the way that we do business. What do we need to do to assure the health of the Lesser Prairie Chicken? And so they started actually following a lot of the Fish and Wildlife rules and assuring that anything that could be offensive to a prairie chicken was stopped. And they adjusted their management of their farms, ranches, oil field stuff to assure that the prairie chicken would thrive. And the prairie chicken has. The prairie chicken numbers have increased across the range.
Great.
And so that was unbelievable that everyone came together and says, yeah, we'll do it without being forced to do it. Let's just do this.
Sure.
So they did that. And then the Fish and Wildlife Service, they found an obscure rule called a 4D rule, and they kind of moved the goalpost and did a backdoor run. Someone subjectively decided that, yeah, the prairie chickens have improved across the range. The population is greater, but in this particular area, they didn't go up enough to suit us. So
here we go.
Some wild number and said everything below this imaginary line below Kansas and partway through Oklahoma.
Right.
So that'd be West Texas and New Mexico. Everything below that line, although it increased, it didn't increase enough. And so those numbers are so low down there, even though it's an increase, those numbers are so low that we're going to claim that the lesser prairie chicken should be an endangered species in the southern portion of its range. The northern portion, I mean, they've got a bumper crop of them, I guess, up in Kansas and Nebraska. And stuff. You know, I don't know. But they said, and it only stands to reason. It's only logical if they're endangered in a portion of their range, then they've got to be at least threatened in the other portion. So they divided it where the lesser prairie chicken species is endangered in one area and threatened in another area, even though the numbers are greater
proving
than ever.
otherwise.
So, of course, we've engaged in another lawsuit with them a few years back. And recently, the Fish and Wildlife Service admittedly stated that their information was not correct, that the listing was in error, and they wanted to vacate the entire listing. And so that had to actually go before the judge. Now, our attorneys wanted to go ahead and go to trial, even though they weren't opposing that anymore, but we wanted to make sure that here are 4 or 5 different reasons why it shouldn't be done. We would like the judge to rule on the 4 or 5 different things, not just you guys stated that this was wrong and so you're going to just remove it and vacate it and you have to start over. But we want to be sure that it's public, that this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. None of your science backs it up. Well, the judge decided he didn't need to hear the entire case. He just, because they were willing to say it's vacated, it's vacated. And so they overturned the ruling. So lesser prairie chicken is no longer an endangered species or a threatened species either, I guess, in the northern range, because they admittedly, so they have to start over. However, the defenders of wildlife,
who's
guardians,
next up?
Or
These
whichever,
never end. Yeah,
you know, there's a whole group of entities that do nothing but sit there and lay in wait and sue. You haven't protected them enough, or you should have done this, should have done that. Doesn't matter what they do; they're constantly suing the federal government so that they can exist, probably. But anyway, they've told the judge he didn't know what he was talking about, and so they've sued. So it's, even though it's been vacated, even though the judge ruled yes, it's no longer.
We're going to go
still kind of in limbo because some organization has come in and decided that they didn't like the outcome, so they're going to challenge the judge on that. So that's one of the reasons why we work with the PBPA, and Michael Perry did a good job going down and supporting us in Midland, Odessa area. But I also want to tell you what happened last week. So, all right. Michael Perry and Hub Corn went to Washington, D.C. last week on the PILT fly-in. We've talked about this numerous times, payment in lieu of taxes, that the federal lands within our communities, even though they don't pay the same rate of property tax as you and I do,
right?
The federal government dictates how much they pay, and it's less than the actual cost for lands. But then they're not even good tenants. They still don't pay.
Pay late. They don't pay at all, or
it's, you know, unless it's been funded, they don't pay.
Would they be evicted if they were, our tenants in a land?
Exactly. I mean,
in a building.
Yeah, we would, put their land up for public sale and make sure that
Das Boot.
So anyway, those commissioners went to Washington last week to lobby on behalf of payment in lieu of taxes. They went to 80 different legislators on the Hill and had meetings. There were 3 or 4 dozen different entities throughout the West. As we've talked on this show before, payment in lieu of taxes doesn't really apply to anyone on the East Coast because all the federal lands are in the West. I mean, to a very small amount, but certainly not like Nevada. That's 80% federal lands in the entire state.
Yeah, 2/3 of a state is part under that.
And New Mexico, 47% of our lands are.
You go to Maryland, Virginia, or any of those places, and
federal land.
A couple acres.
Well, wildlife refuges, national parks, those sorts of things, but certainly not large leftover tracts of land.
Not counties worth of land and things like that. Yeah.
And so those 2 commissioners went to Washington and lobbied on our behalf. And the thing that we always try to do anytime we go to Washington lobby, we try to make sure that they understand the relationship between secure rural schools and payment in lieu of taxes and PILT, SRS and PILT. If you're a forested county, the Forest Service pays differently than the BLM. They don't pay payment in lieu of taxes. They pay secure rural schools. And because they started doing that first, if for some reason they don't fund secure rural schools, they reach over into the PILT pocket and they take the money out of that to make all those secure rural schools forested counties whole first.
Okay.
So it reduces our payment in lieu of taxes considerably. Chaves County is not known for our forest products.
No.
We do have a very small amount of forest in Chaves County. I believe we get $38,000 a year in SRS payments.
Down by the Boot Hill area and all that.
Yeah, just down there. And so if they don't fund that, they reach over to the PILT and grab it. Well, $36,000. They don't just take the $38,000 from us. They take whatever it takes to make everybody whole. So we have a huge loss. So our commissioners always try to assure that everyone knows that. And while they were there, Michael Perry, having worked as a wildlife specialist for a full career, understands the relationship between nature and food stuffs for deer. And,
right.
You know,
the cycle here.
He recognizes, and he also has a contracting company where he goes and thins people's private forest land and to assure that
he's in the industry.
Safe.
He knows. Yeah.
So while he was there, he went to the Forest Service and sat them down and tried to explain to them how their mismanagement of forests have hurt us throughout the West. And, you know, Ruidoso being a prime example of that. If you don't maintain the forest, if you don't thin the trees, nothing grows beneath it, then your butterflies and chipmunks don't have anything to eat, whatever.
And then,
you know,
then the forest fires hit.
And then the fire hits, and then the burn scars, and the flooding.
The flooding and all the stuff.
And so while he was there, he took the initiative to go on his own. I mean, the other dozens of people that were there from other Western states didn't accompany him. He went on his own and got some appointments to discuss with them, what are you going to do here in the West? How are you going to help with that? And so, you know, I know that he's looking forward to, you know, he's running a campaign currently for New Mexico State Land Commissioner, and I know that that's what he's looking forward to. If he gets elected to that, he's going to be the voice. He's trying to
that's where his passion
the stage,
is.
You know, to have those conversations with organizations like that to say, how are you going to protect our state? What are you going to do for us? Because you owe it to us.
We need people like that know and understand and can explain to these people.
He was gone from the meeting yesterday for those reasons. He's been out working hard on the backside of a lot of different things, trying to make sure that we're good. We have another project coming up, and I promise I'll get to the agenda. The agenda is kind of short this time, so I'm doing some filler here, Mike.
Got more outside the meeting that's information that's just
we are amending or renewing whatever our Chaves County land use plan.
Okay.
So we wrote that in 2014. I think it was amended slightly in 2015, and we're going back through it now 10 years later to make sure that the statements we make in our land use plan still respect the custom and culture of Chaves County, that, you know, the use of land, the multiple use on lands, the federal government's role in that, the private ownership of lands, agriculture, oil and gas. And one of the things we don't have in our plan at all is anything about renewable energy. So we have absolutely nothing about, I don't think there's anything in there about solar panels, about windmills, about battery storage, about data centers. So we have to add a whole area about that to explain what our county is looking for in the future of the county. And of course, land use all over the, you know, business, attractive business, you know, all that stuff is rolled up in there. Now, it's not the ordinance. It's not the document. If someone comes and wants to do a change of use on a piece of property, we have to follow these rules X, Y, and Z over here. No, this is just the overarching document that states what the county's role is. And so we're having our first meeting with our contractor on Monday, and we've included some of the people who are on the original steering committee are back with us to help us review, you know, so we can keep the continuity of what they intended when they wrote the original document. got that. We've got several county commissioners who are no longer county commissioners, but had been at one point because they've worked with that document. They understand what the role of the document is and how it's supposed to be used. We have current county commissioners. We also have a couple of county commissioners from Eddy and Roosevelt County are going to come and help us as well, because this is a Chaves County document, but Chaves County is one of the leaders in southeastern New Mexico when it comes to land use, and we're the ones that a lot of the others follow, and we're all on the same boat.
Sure.
And we're all rowing the same direction to assure that the custom and culture of southeastern New Mexico is carried from one county to the other, and that we all believe the same thing, and we're all
common interests
for the good and the common interest, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so we've included those other counties in our attempts as well. Got representatives from oil and gas. We've got representatives from water. Pecos Valley Artesian Conservancy District understands our water better than we understand our water. Those guys are pretty darn amazing. And the water law is pretty complex, and so they're a part of the team. People from the utility companies are part of our team. So anyway, we're looking forward to that meeting on Monday.
Okay.
And to get started on updating our plans. So that's kind of an interesting behind the scenes thing that's going on, because we utilize that document anytime we have a challenge to something coming down from the federal government or some other entity or from the state.
And they'll be coming.
we use that to show, no, we have gone on record for years saying that this is what the people of Chaves County believe Chaves County should be used for. And likewise, the other counties. Eddy County is having their plan done as well. So at the same time with the same company as it turns out.
Very good.
So, we will have that opportunity to utilize that again, say, hey, no, we told you years ago, this is what we intend our county to be used for. These are the things that we believe are in our best interest, and not, we're not going to waver on those. And so that's what that document is for. And we're excited that we're getting a chance to update and improve that. So
excellent.
So to the county commission meeting.
On to the meeting. All right.
We had a lot of agreements that were approved. It's that time of year where the state monies are coming through and those kind of things. And so we've had to ratify some agreements because those are usually time sensitive. The state sends them to us and says, you got to have this back by Friday. So we have to approve it to keep the process moving. But then we need to make sure that the county commission is aware of anything that we're involved with, any monies we're taking, because of course, any of those monies have strings attached. This is only to be used for this project, only in this way. And so they're always involved with that. So one of the first things we did was we approved a change order request. We have a lot of construction going in Chaves County, and the Pecos Valley Regional Communications Center is getting closer and closer and closer to being completed. It's about 3 times the size maybe 4 times the size of their original dispatch area.
Oh, wow.
So they will have a lot of room for consoles and everything. Plus, they have meeting rooms and offices that they never had at the other place. They have kind of a little cubby hole in the back that they utilize as an office. There's no meeting room, so if we needed any kind of emergency management because of a flood or a tornado or
there's no place to coordinate.
We've always had to do that at other sites. The city and us both have the same issue. We have trouble finding a place that we can get together and get all the people across the table, instead of some of them are over here, some are over there, and then after the meeting we're going to call them and make sure that they know, tell them that, so that's all built into that. There's a conference room for emergency management, so the people from dispatch don't have to go across town because they need to be available.
They need to be dispatching.
They can step into another room, join the meeting, get back to what they're doing immediately after. So that project, I believe we're at about $1.4 million on that. We're coming along pretty well. It's on the downhill slope. I mean, we're getting very close to being completed with that. We did have a change order for about $84,000, a lot of which is covered by grants and other funding mechanisms, but a portion of that was covered by Chaves County. I believe it's $42,000 will come out of our general fund budget to cover the shortfall from the other areas. Like I say, the monies that come in have to be utilized very specifically for certain parts of a project. And so we used what we could, but you can't just create stuff to use it on. So portion of it came from the county. So they approved that yesterday. The commissioners also heard on a change order for our Chaves County Cultural Plaza. When we did the contract for the Cultural Plaza, post-COVID, everything has gone up exponentially when it comes to contractors and costs for our community. And that project was no different. We bid that project, I think, 3 times in order to get it down to what we could afford. And in doing so, we had to remove some of the components of the project, call them ad alternates, that if we get the money or another grant from somewhere else, we can always add those back in.
Okay.
But we always try to plan ahead for those things. So the change order was to add the concrete foundations that are necessary for the shade structures. We removed there, I believe, are 6 shade structures within the area. So it's, for lack of a better term, it's kind of a gated park. You open it up and it's got a trail around the outside that's all paved. In the center, there's a grassy area. There's a stage. There's another covered thing at the other end that you could, again, for lack of a better term, call a beer garden or whatever, picnic tables or
pavilion space.
There you go. That's why I'm here. 'Cause you always know the right stuff to say. And of course, public bathrooms, are there. But along the grassy area, we had these shade structures. Kind of, I don't really want to draw this parallel, but I will anyway. Like in the rest areas back in the 70s, they had kind of a slope top thing on legs and a little seating area underneath.
Yeah.
Kind of like that. So we have about 6 of those around the outside edge of the grassy area. I think it's still that way at the
the rest stop between our I think that one's got those. Yeah,
those were real popular in the 1970s.
Yeah, yeah. And I think if you head out like towards is it between Tatum and the Texas line? I think there's like a rest stop out there.
There's a rest stop out there. It still has a few of those. Of course, they redid the rest stop north of town. I'm not sure it still has any of those.
Yeah. But they got those style of the slanted.
It's just a very simple construction. It's secured on the corner, so it can't blow away. It's got a little slope to the roof, so water, snow drains off. It doesn't cave in. You've got the shade. So we had 6 of those structures, 6, I'm pretty sure, within that Cultural Plaza, but we had to remove those from the contract because, we cut corners where we could.
Sure.
And we're on a budget. When we have the money, we'll go ahead and put those in. We think that we'll be able to get money to go ahead and do those.
Good.
But they take a special footing underneath them because, again, you need to make sure they're anchored tight and the wind doesn't blow them away, and there's no problem. If we were to go ahead and say, well, we took those out of the contract, and so don't put any concrete down, and then we came back next year, for instance, and decided to put those in, then we have to dig up the work we just did and create something underground. So
you got to set the table to begin with.
So we said, well, we're much better off to go ahead and get that portion of the foundations done now so that we only have to worry about purchasing the metal structures at a later date. And so the change order for that was to add, as it turns out, there are 36 small foundations required for these thing, and a few other minor things that were needed for lighting and that sort of thing. So we approved a change order on that for $84,000 yesterday. And again, 36 little foundations is, wow. There's quite a bit underground.
That's what makes it solid, I guess.
It would really destroy the area if we had to go back next year or something to do it. So we had some ratification of agreements between Chaves County and the Joy Centers for the operation of vehicles because they're getting, I don't have the number of vehicles. I think it's 9 different vehicles for all of their different Joy Center operations throughout Chaves County. So some of them are here at the Roswell, some are at the Lake Arthur, some are at Hagerman, some are for transporting people, others for hot food delivery, those kind of things. So we have not only, we're the fiscal agent for the Joy Centers. They cannot obtain state monies without us. And so the monies actually come through us and we work with them. They asked for the funding. They were successful in getting $1,164,000 all for vehicle replacement. And so the county commission approved those funds as well as the agreement saying that the agreement between Chaves County and Joy Center at the Roswell for this vehicle. Every one of them has to have a special agreement. They're going to have insurance on them. The drivers are the appropriate drivers, all that sort of stuff. There's a lot of stuff.
Who's allowed, who can't. What is,
we changed our indigent health care meetings over the last several years. We had a special meeting for those that started at 8:30 in the morning. It took about 10 minutes at most to do the indigent health care portion of the meeting, and then they would go into recess, and then they would start the regular Chaves County Board of Commission meeting, and these were quarterly. We changed that this year, said there's no need to have a separate meeting. We'll just do that as a piece of the regular county commission meeting.
Okay.
So yesterday was our indigent health care claims recital.
Portion of the meeting,
Yeah. And so, I think they had 66 claims, and they explained what they're for, and that we're paying those portions, those claims, and the commission has to review all the claims, have to review where the money's going to, and have to approve the payment that was made. So that was done yesterday.
Okay.
Like I say, our meeting was pretty boilerplate. One of the things that we have to do every year is we have to, by state statute, the county commission is told that they need to, and I'm trying to remember the exact wording because the wording is kind of crazy. They need to order the county assessor to impose the tax rates, the 2025 certified tax rates for our county.
Make it official.
Order it.
I got it. So let it be written, so let it be done. Yes.
So that's the way they do that. And one thing to point out is the tax rates are set by the state of New Mexico. They're not set by the local assessor or anything. Now, they adjust how your property is assessed. If it's an agricultural property, they can make those adjustments.
Sure.
If it's a residential property,
or commercial,
if you've had
or
it
whatever,
so many years, there are a lot of rules and regulations they use to keep your taxes at a reasonable rate. But the rate itself is set by the state of New Mexico. And so every year the county commission has to order the county assessor to do that. and they did that yesterday. Again, one of the
gentlemen start your engines of
another one of the boilerplate things we do regularly is a budget adjustment. As the year proceeds, we find out, well, we're a little short here, or we put extra money here and we can move that over here to cover this expense, because everything is very carefully laid out during budget times, but you can't foresee anywhere near all of the things.
Certain expenses just pop up sometimes. Yeah.
And so minor budget adjustments are made throughout the year to make sure that we're still compliant with our budget. Wrapping this up, because like I say, it was a
perfect time. We're about done anyway here. So
we had a couple of out-of-state travel requests. One from CCDC. A couple of their guys are going to learn some new defensive techniques, and then they'll come back and train our people. So it's a kind of a training class on defensive techniques.
Okay.
And the sheriff's department, they sent a couple of guys to training. It's HITS training, but I can't remember what the acronym stands for, but it's for dog handlers.
Okay.
And so our 2 canine guys went to learn more techniques on handling their dogs, how to continue to train the dogs, how to assure the dogs are well taken care of. And of course, they went to Dallas, Texas for that at the end of last month. It was after the last commission meeting that it came up that they could go. There were spots available. And so we talked to the chairman. Chairman approved it, gave him a stamp, and then we had to ratify that.
Put them on a plane, send them to Dallas.
It was good. Well, they just drove to Dallas. But still, it was a easy thing. We approved the services for J&H to work on the East Burindo Creek low water crossing. That'll make a lot of people really happy. That's been closed since the flood. It really destroyed it this time. It's unsafe to go through there, and they ended up actually having to completely block it because people were it is a great road to have. It's a good way to get to where you're going, but unfortunately it's not real safe.
It's not safe. Yeah.
But the contractor is now approved, going to be working on it.
Okay, so the process
a lot of this stuff
fixed.
we're waiting on FEMA. So we've had this conversation too, that FEMA isn't real quick to get money to you, and you cannot do any sort of remediation. You cannot mitigate any of the problems. If you do, then you're not eligible for any kind of reimbursement through FEMA. Our county has identified the most important things or things that really are critical to public safety, and we've said, forget it. We don't care if FEMA pays us or not. We've got to get this done to assure that people get where they need to go or that they're safe while doing it. So we took on several of those projects ourselves. The other things we're still waiting on FEMA, but I am here to report that we have finally received some money from FEMA. We've received approximately $88,000 from FEMA. I believe the county has $12.6 million in total damages that we've turned into FEMA, but we've received $88,000. That $88,000 was only for the emergency stuff that was going on in the county during the actual flood. So we've actually not gotten really any money yet. So anyway, that's kind of
the gist of it.
The show we had yesterday. A couple of fire trucks were approved for Sierra Volunteer Fire Department, a couple of brush trucks, so they'll be getting those. It takes about 2 years to get them built now. So, but other than that, everything's going good.
Hunky-dory.
County commissioners are working hard for everybody, and we're plugging along.
Awesome. Well, thank you, sir. And of course, don't forget, you can always go back and watch these at the county's Facebook page, and you're always welcome to invite to be at the meeting.
It's no longer on Facebook. It's on YouTube.
Oh, it's on the YouTube.
Facebook
Okay.
started removing things after 30 days, and because of the need to keep the record for.
So look for Chaves County on YouTube.
Yes.
Perfect. And then you'll find them there.
Yes.
Good deal. Well, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Don't work too hard this weekend, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
All right, it's 9 o'clock. You're listening to 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM, KEND, Roswell, New Mexico.
Licensed national TV networks, and that the Kimmel decision was pushed by owners of local TV stations around the country.
And what happened the first time, frankly, in modern history, is local TV stations, first Nexstar, which owns some, then Sinclair, which owns others, says, listen, we don't want to run Kimmel. We don't think it actually serves the needs of our communities in Utah, in Pennsylvania. And so this is TV stations pushing back on national programmers, which I think is a very good thing.
The FCC chairman interviewed on the Scott Jennings Show on the Salem Radio Network. She will carry on her late husband's legacy. Charlie Kirk's widow will take the helm at Turning Point USA. She's the unanimous choice of Turning Point's board of directors. The board releasing a statement. It reads in part, "It is our great pride to announce Erica Kirk, the new CEO and chair of the board." President Trump talking with Chinese President Xi today about finalizing a deal to keep TikTok active in the U.S., and our military affairs analyst, retired Lieutenant Colonel Robert McGinnis, expects other issues to surface as well.
We'll talk about rare earths, export controls, and investment rules, and the like. So, the President Trump has never, stayed to one topic like that. So I suspect that's what's going to happen in the conversation that follows today.
The House gearing up for a vote today on a Republican plan to avert a partial government shutdown at the end of the month. Watching Wall Street, the Dow is up 65 points. The NASDAQ ahead 88. More on these stories, townhall.com.
Hey, it's Mike Gallagher, host.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call low-cost airlines. Their prices are direct from the airlines, and they're so low you can't find these fares published anywhere. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and great package deals anywhere around the world. Wherever you want to go, they can help you get there cheaply and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call right now for the lowest travel prices anywhere and for great last-minute travel deals too.
Call 866-755-5300. That's 866-755-5300. Again, that's 866-755-5300. Call us right now.
Way to recruit spies abroad. It's posting help wanted ads on the dark web.
Sir Richard Moore is coming to the end of his 5-year tenure as chief of Britain's secret intelligence service, MI6. But the outgoing spy chief is not going quietly. Here in Turkey, he's delivering his valedictory speech, including the announcement of how MI6 plans to tap the dark web for recruits. It involves a dedicated secure messaging platform called Silent Courier, intended to attract potential new spies online, especially from Russia. A press release by the Foreign Office said it'll build on a similar approach used by the CIA.
The BBC's Frank Gardner. President Trump now back home following his two-day state visit to the UK. He's thanking his host for the royal treatment he received. He's also applauding a new multi-billion-dollar science and tech deal between the U.S. and Great Britain. News and analysis, townhall.com. The Taliban anti-tech crackdown underway, the stated purpose to prevent immorality in Afghanistan.
More and more provinces are losing access to fiber optic internet after the country's leader imposed a complete ban on the technology. It's the first time a ban of this kind has been imposed since the Taliban seized power in August 2021. Mobile internet remains functional, however. The northern Balkh province confirmed a Wi-Fi shutdown on Tuesday with reports of severe disruption in other parts of the country. Keith Peters, Washington.
South Korean automaker Hyundai confirms it's going ahead with expansion of its plant in Georgia. The move comes after an immigration raid delayed the startup of an electric vehicle battery plant on the site. The company is planning to invest about $2.7 billion to boost capacity by 200,000 vehicles over the next few years. More on these stories, townhall.com.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man on this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The devil listen, what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 6 minutes after 9 o'clock. Welcome to our number Mornings with Mike Winters right here on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM. Happy Friday.
Yeah, buddy.
It's Friday, finally.
We did it.
It is. And it's, yeah, like you said, it's that weekend between weekends of weekends of things. So I feel like you're like, okay, this week I'm going to do a little thing because next weekend's fair stuff.
If you've ever done whitewater rafting, there's spots in the heavier raft areas that you can pull off where there's no current. It's called an eddy. So this is the eddy weekend.
Here you go.
Between the torrential whitewater rafting trip that we're on called festival season.
The part you got to paddle.
Yep.
Yep. But yeah, it's kind of like that. So then, people kind of like, oh, well, I'm going to use this weekend to probably do yard work or something. I don't know, or whatever.
Well, if weather goes according to plan, I've already told one of my kids that we may visit a splash pad this weekend.
It is September 30th.
Yep. I was surprised they're keeping it open that late.
Well, weather's nice.
It's been nice. We haven't closed our pool yet because it's been so nice.
Yeah, ours is in our neighborhood. It's open, but they're not servicing it.
That's odd.
It's technically open. If you want to go down there and throw some shock in it, then maybe you and the family could enjoy an afternoon.
Yeah, absolutely.
Go skim the pool on your own dime.
Absolutely. Hey, we're going to take a quick break, and I'll be right back here. You're listening to 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
The ultimate Wi-Fi experience is now available to you thanks to smart home Wi-Fi with Plateau. Get fiber to home technology 100 times faster than average household internet speed. Plateau has multiple plans and options to fit your family. With Fast, get true 100 megs per second download and upload speed. With Faster, get true 500 megs of download and upload speeds. And with Fastest, you get 1 gig. Learn more at plateautel.com. Get the speed you need with Plateau. Tried, true.
trusted.
Taste the flavors of Thailand and beyond at Lemongrass Restaurant in Roswell. Authentic ingredients like holy basil, Thai chili, and kaffir lime. Original recipes including curry, pad Thai and pad see-ew, and egg drop or tom kha soups. Friendly service, authentic flavors, and
a little or a lot of spice, but everything's nice.
Open 11 to 8, Tuesday through Saturday at 610 South Main in Roswell. Call ahead, 575-208-0411. Lemongrass Restaurant in Roswell. The flavors of Thailand right here at home.
Some wounds need expert care to heal properly. At Artesia General Hospital's Wound Care and Hyperbaric Medicine Center, we use advanced treatments like hyperbaric oxygen therapy to help chronic wounds heal faster. If you or a loved one has a wound that won't heal, call 575-736-8235 today and take the first step toward recovery.
Coach, question for you over here.
Coach, can you talk about the latest trade rumors?
Absolutely. Right now, you can get big money for your trade at Roswell Ford.
Start your season with a win at Roswell Ford. Right now, we need trades. So if you're making payments on your current vehicle and run out early, Roswell Ford will do whatever it takes to help you escape from your trade. Even if you owe thousands more than it's worth, regardless of make, miles, or condition. With 0% APR and no payments for 90 days. Worried about your credit? Don't sweat it. Roswell Ford has partnered with more aggressive lenders who will push to approve your credit with great terms, with good credit, no credit, or even if your credit is less than perfect. All roads lead to huge American-made savings, more for your trade, and a better buying experience. Get on board at Roswell Ford, 821 North Main Street in beautiful Roswell. Call 575-623-3673 or online at roswellford.com. 0 APR for 48 months is $28.83 per thousand finance. Interest accrues from date of sale. Subject to lender approval on select vehicles. Offers not combined.
Bush Appliance presents Adventures with Spinal Tap.
Now this Maytag right here, this is something very special. If you can see, look close. The numbers, they all go to 11.
Oh, yeah.
Look right across the board.
Oh, yeah, I see that.
Yeah, most go to 10, exactly.
So does this mean it's better?
Well, it's one better, isn't it? It's not 10.
Okay.
You see, most blokes will be cleaning at 10 all the way up. You're on 10. Where do you go from there?
I don't know.
Well, nowhere. Nowhere's where you go. So what we do at Bush Appliance, we want the extra little push over the cliff.
Mm-hmm.
You know what we do?
You put it up to 11.
We put it up to 11, exactly.
So why doesn't Maytag just make 10 better and make that be the top number and make that one just a little bit better?
Well, these Maytags go to 11.
This has been Adventures in Spinal Tap, brought to you by Bush Appliance. Stop by 111 West Country Club Road in Roswell or call 575-622-6390.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. U-Haul is the world's largest advertiser in the Yellow Pages. Too bad millennials don't know what the Yellow Pages are. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning, 11 minutes after 9 o'clock. I'm not Mike Winters. I know it's confusing, right? But Mixmaster Mike Winters stepped out for just a moment. Maybe we'll be getting him back in here in just a few minutes. But in the meantime, you got Sean Smalls sitting in the captain's chair, keeping the chair nice and warm. And we are joined this morning in official capacity now by Miss Andrea from the Roswell Chamber. How are you doing this morning?
Pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing great, doing good. It's like I said, we're in that calm before the storm. Post air show, and then of course the Eastern New Mexico State Fair coming up next week. It's just kind of quiet here.
Absolutely, it's the same at the chamber.
Yeah.
We were kind of busy during the air shows, getting lots of phone calls about information. Still some last minute ticket sales, where to go. What's going on for the evening events. Main Street Roswell just kind of knocked it out of the park. I have heard nothing but positive
Absolutely.
About what the Main Street corridor had done with making sure that their shops were open later, having different events going on. Of course, we had Pinata Fest, which was fabulous.
Oh yeah, it was so interesting to watch everybody be like, oh, the air show's coming. Let's just throw everything into this weekend, because you had Pinata Fest here. I was at Red Dirt Black Gold in Artesia for the folks who were here for the air show but staying in Artesia. We made sure there was activities for everybody. They did Aspen Fest up in Ruidoso.
Yes.
Same weekend. So I can appreciate the way that you plan it so that everybody's here, so that there's something to do for everybody. But it sort of results in weekends like this weekend coming up, where it's like, well, now what do we do with our hands,
Well, this weekend is the General's Cup. So for, all the golfers, they have signed up for that tournament. And I will be out at the Nemi Golf Course because I always work the Tiger Hole. So if you are part of General's Cup, you better make sure you bring your cash because I am a Class A trash talker for anybody that doesn't give to the kids. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, all that money goes to the Alumni Association to help with scholarships and to help the kids at the Institute.
Have you ever, I watched this, it's a YouTube short series called Country Club Adjacent. And their big thing is that they snap on golfers right before they take their swings. And some of the things they say are absolutely terrible. Like there was one they actually did with President Trump, and he's stepping up to the tee, and they go, "Where'd you get your golf clubs, Mr. President? Are those made in China?" And then he takes his swing. It's fantastic. I mean, and you hear some of the most offensive things, but clean language. It's relatively family friendly. But they throw these golfers off every single time, and I think that's something that really should be included in the new evolution of golf. We need smack talk holes.
Well, and so the Tiger Hole is the 10th hole at the golf course. And the way the concept works is that you pay a donation and then you take your second shot as if Tiger Woods in his prime had teed off for you. So everybody gets to go, I think it's 150 yards out from the pin. Wow. Which is awesome. So then and it's just another little fundraiser. And for the last 3 years, I've been 100% collection rate because the first year I did it, there was only one guy. And by 3 teams, everybody knew that guy's name. And I still have it ingrained in my mind, but I will not call him out because poor guy.
That's fair.
But he came back to me when he made the turn and he goes, "Everybody knows who I am." And I said, "Really? You can't come off $20 for the kids?"
Yeah.
Well, I don't have any cash. And I'm like, I have played enough golf in my life. I know what happens on a golf course. You've got $20.
Yeah. I mean, because most of the folks out there who are serving probably aren't taking cards. So you have at least a couple of folding dollars on you.
Well, there's, little side bets. Hey, I bet you can't do this. Ha, ha, ha. It's all. And so I have fun because then you get to meet everybody. So we are at the chamber are also kind of in that lull. We've had a ton of ribbon cuttings, grand openings, and things like that. And September's kind of quiet for us. And we'll start gearing up in October. I know Gary's got a whole list of things because he's pretty good at stacking our calendar.
There's been a lot of interesting movement. I know a lot of it was surrounding the air show with some of the openings. For example, we waited for, I think, going on now about 4 years for our new Firehouse subs. And sure enough, the week of the air show, hey, everybody, we're open. I made a joke to a friend. I said, they have the chance to do the funniest thing in the entire world, and that's when the air show wraps up, just close back down.
Right. And be like, psych.
Yeah, we were just doing a test run while everybody was here. But so they're open up. We officially have an HTO in town.
Yes.
Thanks to Mr. Levin over at the 2nd Street location. Still waiting on our north location, but that will be open in the very near future.
Correct. And what's funny is the north location started construction first. And when we were talking to everybody at the 2nd Street location, they didn't think that they would be open for the air races or around this time. They thought it would be a little longer.
Right. And
how funny it is that that's just the way contracts work. That's just how life works. So 2nd Street is open and it's bustling.
It is.
Was telling my husband last night I was actually there 3 times yesterday, and he goes, "What?
Yeah.
Wait, what? What did you say?"
My friends and I, we have just collections of them in the floorboards of our car. I will say this. If you're going to walk into HTO, know what you're doing. Because I felt like such a fool. I walk in, and I confidently stroll up to the counter, and I start reading off the thing that I want, and the lady just looks at me and she goes, "Okay, sir, well, you can go make your own." And I literally hadn't turned my head since walking in. And I look over and I see, okay,
see
it's
the
a
wall.
self-serve station. Yeah.
Yes.
So you make your tea and then you pay for it after the fact. But that is definitely something to bear in mind. Otherwise, you're going to look like a fool like I did.
Yes, it's like 7-Eleven for tea.
Right. Although, that being said, she's like, go ahead, make your own. Like, I looked at the wall. I'm like, I don't trust myself. I'm going to the drive-thru. And that's exactly what I did. I walked back to my car and just, again, had them make them for me because I just don't trust myself.
Well, and that's fair. I've got my own cup. So I went in, and the first time I went in, I always ask, because 7 Brew's kind of the same way. I'm like, I have my own cup. Can you make it in my cup, or do I need to just pour?
Right.
And, some establishments are like, well, you're going to have to pour it in there. Fine, not a big deal. But HTO goes, yeah, just bring it in. We can usually guesstimate what size. And then if you bring your own cup, you do get a small discount.
Yeah.
Like Starbucks does. Starbucks, you get a little discount if you bring your own cup.
But I'm going to start a trend. I want, and I don't think I'm influential enough in this community to do so, but I'm going to try. I want to see people just walking around in their everyday life drinking out of the mini gallons.
Oh my gosh,
they're adorable.
That would be hilarious.
They're adorable. They're about the size of like a normal size large tea, but they're just these little gallons. I think if we could just see people just in their cars, just at stoplights, just tipping back mini gallons.
My mom and I always laugh because we watch a lot of cooking shows, and when they're using creamer or milk and it's in the little baby gallons, I'm like, where are those in my grocery store? I would buy those.
Right? Absolutely, every time. But yeah, excited to see them open, and I feel like and I've heard a lot of people mention that the post-mortem of the air show is going to be the important part, because that's when we can stop and say, okay, now how do we make what was great even better next year?
Correct. And I know that there was a lot of miscommunication, not really miscommunication, but a lot of rumors. That's what it was. It was rumors that were going around about the air shows, a lot of negativity, and how refreshing that we have this event that came in for 4 days, and it was overwhelmingly positive.
Absolutely.
Everybody I talked to, my parents were out there for 4 days. I was out there for a full day. We got to talk to the pilots. We obviously talked to the other participants and people that just went to go see and experience. We never heard one negative thing about the air shows. The pilots are so excited to be in Roswell because there's wide open spaces. You don't have to worry about crashing into a building or some of the other stuff that just naturally has happened over 60 years in Reno. The people that came to watch the air shows said how nice and welcoming our community was. And they are looking forward to coming next year, which is refreshing.
Absolutely. The one thing I will say, though, is for the folks here in our community, next year, let's be ready. And I say that with all due respect, because there were so many people that had a lot of, like you said, like a lot of extra things, staying open later, a lot of extra sales and stuff. And those were great. But there were a few times right before the shows, like the week leading up to it, I would stop at like a Stripes to grab a soda or something. And I was talking to the person behind the counter. I said, "Are you guys ready?" And they're like, "For what?" And I said, "Well, the championship air show air races are coming to Roswell this week." And they said, "Well, where's that going to be?" This was a literal conversation I had. He goes, "Where's that going to be?" I said, "Well, it's down at the base." He goes, "Oh, well, we don't have to worry." I'm like, No. You don't understand. This is Roswell, Artesia, Carlsbad, Hobbs, Ruidoso. Everybody in the area, their hotels are getting booked up because this is a big deal. It's not just, it's happening in the south side. It doesn't affect us here on the north side.
No,
it does.
It's a regional thing.
Yes.
And one of the things I was pleasantly surprised about is I'm both happy and sad that we didn't have, the 80,000 people that were being predicted.
Sure.
It's heartbreaking because it would have been nice to have that influx, but at the same time, I think it's a net positive.
It is.
Because it gave our community and communities that were participating the first year to go, this is what the the air race board was telling us about. This is what they were. Okay, now we understand. We get it.
It's a training wheels year.
We'll be prepared for next year when there is that influx, because it is to my understanding that there we'll have more air classes for the races.
The top 2 that were removed this year, I believe, are being added back in, and potentially a third class.
That maybe.
And again, this is all speculation.
Nothing is confirmed.
Right.
This is just all things that I've heard, and I just haven't had a chance to go confirm any of this stuff. But then, in addition to that, there are so many more people that are like, okay, they said the same thing. Hey, we've gone to Reno for years and years and years. We're going to take a step back. We want to see how Roswell's going to be able to deal with this. And people, oh my gosh, we're coming back. In fact, we had a couple of pilots from Wisconsin come into the chamber Monday after the air races were over, and they said, we're going home. We're telling all of our buddies that, hey, you missed out. Should have been in Roswell for the inaugural year, but no big deal. And they said next year they're going to bring 20, 30 people with them. That's part of their little circle of influence. And I was like, that is fantastic.
And it's only going to get bigger from here. So it's definitely something we need to, like I mentioned, the week after the air shows, the weeks after the air shows, this is now when we start saying, okay, how do we make sure we are infrastructurally set up for next year?
Absolutely.
How do we make sure that we have enough beds for heads, and make Roswell the centerpiece rather than spreading it out to the surrounding areas and counties. Like how do we keep that business right here?
Well, and I'm not above sharing the love, because I don't know, and I've said this to other people, I don't know that I want to see Roswell ever become like a Denver or an LA. Like, I don't want to be a metropolitan area.
Right.
But as the small hometown community that we are, we can do different things to make it even better, because Roswell is awesome.
Yeah.
Do we have issues? 100%. But if you've got more than 2 people living in a space together, you're going to have issues.
Right. Tell me about it. I have kids.
Right? So do I. If you've got a spouse, if you've got kids, if you've got people in your life, you know that you don't always get along.
Right.
So we have issues. So what?
Yeah.
We are an awesome community. We've got great weather. We have a great standard of living. And I grew up outside of Roswell. I grew up in Colorado. I thought my family was crazy when they wanted to move to Roswell in the 90s, because I was like, on purpose, you're making this move.
Right.
And now 30 years later, I can't imagine living anywhere else.
Yep.
Living in Roswell has given at least myself the opportunity to have a wonderful life and then go experience the world.
Right.
And then appreciate even more where we live.
To the hometown, because there's like you said, there's a juxtaposition of lives here, because it can get fast paced here. We have, our festival season, we have our moments, but then it slows down enough to where you have this small town and a community and it's an everybody knows everybody's situation. You see the same faces at the diner on Sundays, and that's a unique thing that some of these other building smaller towns that have become bustling cities don't have anymore.
Correct.
And we still have it. We just need to make sure to nurture it and make sure that we're doing the right things for it to succeed.
Absolutely. Be good stewards of what we've got.
That's right.
And like I said, we've got issues, but it is our job as the community that when we have visitors come in, that we go, okay, here's what we have. And one of the things I hear all the time is, oh my goodness, I am so sick and tired of aliens. Well, okay, sure. I can understand that, because if we were the strawberry capital of the world, we would probably be sick and tired of strawberries.
That's true.
But it is our job to go, okay, thank you for coming for the UFOs, because the museum does bring in about 500,000 visitors a year.
Right.
So it is now our job as the community to go, once you're finished with the museum, here's the 100 other things that you can do, because there are other things that you can go do in this community.
Yeah.
And really, if you're bored, it's kind of on you. Because, and I know I don't know everything, because there are times that I'll find out on Monday morning, oh my gosh, did you know that this happened on Friday? And I'm like, no, if I would have known, I would have shown up.
Right.
And we have to toot our own horn that way.
Yeah, absolutely. I've mentioned this before on this show, but I'm perpetually on YouTube. Like I have other streaming services, but I primarily watch YouTube videos. And one of my favorite things to come across is when I see there'll be like these tourist videos where it's like these couples that are just doing all parts of America, but then there's the Roswell video. And I see parts of Roswell that I've never even been to before. Like I've been to the Miniatures Museum. It's an amazing experience. If you've never been, it's a great experience.
Absolutely. And you should go more than once because they're always changing their exhibits.
That's true. But I've never been to Bricktown. I've been to the spacewalk, but I've never been to there's another galactic experience. Did you know we have an escape room downtown? Yes. Yeah, I didn't know that until I was at a random stoplight and I looked over and saw a sign. I'm like, huh. I did not know that about us.
I knew we had it. My family just hasn't had the pleasure of being able to go and participate in it quite yet.
I'm a little worried that I'm going to get stuck because I don't have necessarily a great brain processing power. Like I don't think, the key's under that thing. So if they don't come and get me, I'm just going to, that's where I live now.
So since you watch YouTube videos, Mark Roper actually has a YouTube about strategy to get through an escape room.
Okay.
And it's about the buddies that you take. That you really shouldn't go, obviously, by yourself because there's so much to do. But he categorizes the types of people you should take, and him and his buddies were able to get out. I think it was under 20 minutes.
Oh, really?
Because they had the one guy that was really good at puzzles. They had one guy that was good at ciphers. They had one guy that was, I think, one or two guys that their job was to just kind of sit back and observe and be like, oh, wait, you need to go over here. Right. Hey, there's something over there.
And listen to the clues and know that, I'll give you a prime example. If you've ever been to Meow Wolf, there's two ways to experience Meow Wolf. There's just going through and seeing all the cool colors and just being amazed and having your mind blown for a minute. There's also the story. And the story is so immersive and just from me on the outset looking at it, I'm like, I can't do that.
Yeah.
I'm going to get stuck in the research room, after climbing through the weird refrigerator or the locker and get stuck in the research room just on the computers trying to study the tapes, so
yeah,
that's my problem is I get super observant. So I guess that would be my role in the escape room.
Yeah. So, my kids and I are like, okay, we got to do that. And I'm like, you put your peeps together and we'll go do it and let's see if it works or not.
But that's just one example of just all the interesting things that are here in Roswell that I didn't know until I watched some YouTuber experience it for themselves.
Exactly. And when we come across at the chamber, when I come across those videos or somebody calls us, we try to highlight those by putting them in our weekly email, putting them on our website and highlighting them on social media because how cool is it to experience Roswell from our visitors' point of view and go, oh, like you said, I learn something all the time too. And I'm like, I didn't know that. Oh, that's there or that. Okay. Some of the things that we do know about that we just kind of blow off and go, oh, well, that's just that. And then you see a visitor go, oh my gosh, bottomless lakes. Yeah. How many times do we just kind of go, oh, we take it for granted because it's right up the road. And then visitors come into the chamber and they go, oh, we stayed at bottomless lakes. I didn't know that you could, you can bike, you can hike, that you can do the paddle boats, you can swim. There literally is something for everybody. And then, of course, there's lore about it possibly being haunted and having, and so
God forbid you ever hang out too long by the Devil's Inkwell. There's stuff.
And so it's fun to hear that kind of stuff. And then I can pass that on to the next person and go, oh, hey, if this is something you're into, we just got done with the Firefly Festival at Bitter Lakes.
Dragonfly.
Or Dragonfly. What did I say? Oh my
Firefly.
gosh. Firefly.
Which I love the Dragonfly Festival because it's one of those, it's again a pocket of Roswell that just gets forgotten because so it's down this long, which this year, if you went, you had to take an even longer detour because of all the rains. Part of the roads closed down. So you had to take this big swath around to get out there. And my daughter was even like, this feels like we're going to another town. This feels like a road trip. I'm like, yeah, it kind of does, you know?
Yes.
You see a part of Roswell, like a whole neighborhood that you don't really think about, the unincorporated section of that area of Roswell. And then, and my mind always goes to, who lives this far out? Like to have to drive for 15 minutes to get to a Walmart.
Well, that's because we're also spoiled.
I know.
And we're like, because what's the mindset? Oh, I have to go all the way out to the base.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, it's really not that far.
It's really not. And that's the other thing that the air races has sort of brought to the attention of Maine Roswell is there's a lot to do out there.
Yes.
There's in addition to the Air Center, which everybody has to go to when they need to, the Eastern New Mexico University Roswell campus has just done an amazing job of beautifying that whole area.
They have some wonderful artwork, and you can really go on an art tour through the campus where there, of course, the main terminal over at the Air Center. You've got Walker Aviation Museum. I know that their hours tend to be just when the flights are coming and going, but once again, if anybody wants to go and participate, give me a call. I have the phone numbers for you to be able to contact the museum, and they are happy to open up and do private tours and explain the stuff. I can't tell you how many times when we have flown out or come back and it's open, I sit there and I talk to the people that are out there and the knowledge that they have and the things that are out there, and you just keep going from one thing. It's a small space, but it is cram-packed of so much knowledge.
Because there's such a rich history of that section of Roswell, of when it was the Air Force Base, and when it was and all the different flights that came through, and the fact that, and I've discussed this before, we have, I believe, it's the second longest runway in the world, I think, or something like second or third.
We can land a space shuttle, and that was by design. Because during World War II, all of the, top secret confidential things that were happening in New Mexico, because we were kind of ground zero for a lot of that testing. I mean, we are a hop, skip, and a jump from White Sands, which is where all of that testing came from, or was at.
It's funny because, so my daughter's in 7th grade now, and her class, her last class of the day, they show them CNN 10, which for our generation was Channel 1 News.
Yes.
And she's kind of getting a dose of the real world. And one of the interesting things, we were talking about missiles and places they would strike. And I'm like, we live in Roswell, Rhiannon. Who'd be interested in striking a place like Roswell? And then my mind goes to, well, Los Alamos and White Sands is right there. And we are kind of right. We are kind of right in the triangular zone if I'm really being honest. But I'm not going to tell her that.
Yeah, no, you don't tell your children that. You go, oh, we're great.
Hey, we're fine.
That's how it was growing up in Colorado. I grew up just north of Colorado Springs, so Cheyenne Mountain, NORAD. And it was the same kind of thing that we were like, oh, well, I guess if something bad's going to happen, they probably are going to come get us.
It's going to happen here. But that's neither here nor there. The point is, there's so much of Roswell that you don't even know about or forget about even because you've been here so long, you get into your routines. So, this is a great time to, especially now with everything else going on, to patronize local business, to keep downtown alive, and to keep it growing.
Reflect on what we've got. And if you are at a loss, come down to the chamber. 131 West 2nd. Our phone number is 575-623-5695. There are 2.5 of us there. And so sometimes we're not in the office. So please leave a message. We will call you back. Or, more times than not, it's the phone's ringing off the hook. And literally all 3 of us are on the phone. And we just literally cannot answer the next line. So leave a message. Come down in person. Or you can always go onto the website and email us, and and of course my phone number is out there. My phone number has been the same for 25 years. Call me, text me. I will get back to you as soon as I can.
There's definitely ways to reach out. Now we're about a week out from the Eastern New Mexico State Fair. Obviously, things kicking off with
we're excited for that.
The parade on the 29th. this is again another chance for Roswell to put their best foot forward and kind of
exactly.
We tend to fall into this rhythm when it comes to the state fair because it's the same the same commercial building, the same exhibits, and for the most part, but every year is another chance to kind of see the more creative side of Roswell, the more industrious side of Roswell.
Yes.
And that's the part that changes. Yeah, the structure stays the same, but the life that's breathed into it every year, that's the part that's changed.
The community, once again, and it's not just the kids, it's not just adults, it's the whole community gets together and go through and look at the loving care and attention that they have put with their animals, because there are very strict and certain criteria to raise your animals. Everything from the little cute bunny rabbits and the chickens that you're going to see to the cows, chickens, and pigs,
right?
Or the that are out there, and the sheep and stuff. That these people, overwhelmingly it tends to be the kids, but it's not just kids. That it's the time and the attention that people have put to raising those, but then go into the arts and crafts building, go in and look at the time and attention that it took for somebody to, take that picture or create that outfit or whatever it may be, because I know that there's a lot of talent in this town, and I look at stuff at the fair and I go, there's no way I could do that.
Right. It takes a certain level of patience,
yes,
which I do not have, for the life of me, any of. So yeah, the one thing that aggravates me when I walk through all these different pavilions is the baked goods category, because I always see these amazing looking pies,
and you can't eat them
with just one little slice taken out of for testing, and then it's just mocking me sitting there behind glass, and I'm just like, I guess I'll just go have another deep fried Oreo.
Yeah, Miss Juanita's pie, and you're like, I want to know Miss Juanita. I want her pie.
I'd love to try your blueberry, your triple berry pie. Come on, but I guess that's why you become a judge.
Exactly.
That's why you learn that lifestyle. But yes, that fair coming up, and that sort of like puts a cap on festival season, at least for a little while, until fall time is coming. I know it doesn't feel like it outside just yet, and we're not quite done with summertime officially. But yeah, fall time is coming.
Well, this morning I dropped my kid off at school for donuts. Her youth group does donuts every Friday at her school. And I did have the windows down, and I felt a little bit of a cool breeze.
Yeah.
I mean, it was still kind of warm.
Sure.
But you could feel that. I was like, it's hinting.
There's
it's
a morning
coming.
chill. And I don't know if you noticed this. We're pre-time change. We're pre-fall back. So we're in that interesting realm where it's like 6:25, 6:30 in the morning, and the sun still hasn't all the way come up yet.
Correct.
So take advantage. Fall time is coming. And obviously, if there's new businesses here in town, we've had a lot of...
come see us.
Yes.
We're always looking to incorporate new members at the chamber, because we are a great family. There's some great perks, and you can always contact myself or Gary, and we will give you the full rundown. The big things that come to everybody's mind are our ribbon cuttings and grand openings and business after hours.
Absolutely.
And you don't have to have a reason to have a business after hours other than you just want to celebrate who you are and what you do.
Right.
Let's see. One of the last ones that we did was Hippie Chicks, when we had the pleasure to be able to be there as Terry passed the torch on to Cynthia.
Oh, really?
Yes. So Terry...
Is Terry fully retired, or is she just taking a step back?
She sold to Cynthia.
Okay.
And Cynthia is going to be a very good steward of the Hippie Chicks legacy. So lots of the same old things that we're used to, but also with a flair and a taste that Cynthia has, but it's all in the same spirit. You're gonna love it. And so we were there for a huge business after hours to be able to celebrate both women, one as she's passing on the torch and one that's picking it up, and just a great thing in Roswell. That's another thing, is how many times are we all going up and down Main Street and you see the big green VW Beetle.
Careful.
Beetles.
No. She insists it's a bug. I got into a whole argument with Terry years ago. I sent her a sample of a commercial, and she sent it back to me and says, it's not a beetle, it's a bug. I'm like, I know technically it is a beetle, but she insists.
In our car,
bug.
it's a slug bug, and we do get to hit each other twice because it's split in two.
You would double. I like that.
Well, it's a big debate, and we discuss rules for a long time before we incorporate.
There you go.
We're like, okay, does this count? Like, I don't know if you've heard about the game Banana. It's anytime you see a yellow vehicle.
Oh, okay.
And so there have been. And I'm not kidding. My husband just laughs. He goes, "You guys put way too much thought into these games."
Well, and that's the thing is if you're committed to the game, especially on a road trip, you can injure a sibling.
Yes. And we're not allowed to hit each other because my youngest daughter and I did bruise each other. And both of us were crying in the car. And this is just going from the school to the house one day.
Right.
And so we looked at each other. We're like, okay, new rule. We cannot slug each other because her and I get pretty competitive. And so she was like, okay, to save each other's feelings, because we both came home crying. And my husband's like, what's going on? And we both look at each other. We're like, she beat me up. So
that's fantastic.
Go check out Hippie Chicks. Go when you see these things in town, stop. This is our community. And if you want our community to continue to grow and thrive, I mean, just down the Main Street corridor, there are all kinds of brand new businesses that are there.
Yeah.
We've got the Space Toy Museum.
Yeah, which I didn't even know was a thing until a YouTube video. I was like, wait, we have a Space Toy Museum? That's so cool.
I mean, and that side of the street is just bustling. There's all kinds. And there's the Mercantile across the street. You've got CS Designs that, she's really working hard at doing so much more in her shop. You've got all of these. Stop in. If you have lived here all your life or you've been here for 5 minutes, poke your head into some of these stores and just see what's going on. I promise that you're going to be pleasantly surprised.
Absolutely. And again, business after hours, a great chance to network, to let people know that you're in business and you do. Some people don't even know that you're in your line of work until you present it to them. Not to mention the opportunities for the business cards that you can get at the end.
Correct. The networking opportunity.
Absolutely.
At the end of the day, it's all about the networking and trying to put people together. And of course, if you've got any kind of a milestone, whether you're a brand new business or you go, you know what, I've been open for 2.5 years. Let's celebrate you. And we can do a grand opening. We can do a ribbon cutting. In fact, some of our most well-attended ribbon cuttings are these kind of what you would consider off-year ribbon cuttings where it is, I've been open for 11 and a half years or I've been open for, 2.5. Yeah, come, or 3 years. Let's come see you because, if you're not on the main drag where everybody drives, and I'm not a Main Street driver, so I see a lot of these off on the side streets, some of the greatest businesses that you can ever have. Yeah. But, call us, become a member, and let's celebrate you because we have so much Roswell is awesome. And then if you ever have any questions on what's going on, or if you have an event that you would like to share, we do have the community calendar at roswellnm.org. It's open for anybody to post an event. As soon as you post it, I get an email that says, hey, an event was posted. I check it over just to make sure that it is appropriate.
That it's not like an invite to the Klan rally or something.
Exactly. And then we approve it, and it's on our community calendar. There you go. And then if you want to have graphics or anything, you do need to email me because for some reason you can't put the graphics on your end, but then we'll attach the graphics. And then when I see that stuff, that gives me a chance to go onto our social media and be able to like and share your event and help just pass that word around.
And that's, and I work in a medium of advertising, but I will tell you to this day, the best advertising, especially here in Roswell, is word of mouth.
Yes.
And once it gets into people's minds and they start talking about it during, coffee or getting together to exercise or whatever, that's when conversations happen, and that's when the real advertising happens.
Absolutely. So 575-623-5695, roswellnm.org, or come see us on the corner of Richardson and 2nd Street, 131 West 2nd. You can't miss us.
Look for Captain America Alien.
Huge Captain American Alien mural.
Absolutely. So come on by and let's keep Roswell growing and going, because I see nothing but big things from here on out.
Absolutely.
Miss Andrea, thanks so much for your time.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
We'll see you next time.
All right, have a great weekend.
You too. 12 minutes away from 10 o'clock. Let us get you up to date with the local news.
With your Pecos Valley news update, I'm Jared Sorello. New Mexico's state land office recently held its second best auction ever of oil and gas leases. The auction brought in $117 million, including one Eddy County tract that sold for $175,000 per acre. Eddy County, of course, makes up part of the oil-rich Permian Basin. The previous record was $132,500 per acre. The Santa Fe New Mexican reports that 8 of the 11 leases were leased under higher royalty rates. The state legislature had approved a bill earlier this year boosting the royalty rate to a maximum 25% for prime tracts. The Black Wings exhibit is now on display at the Artesia Historical Museum. The traveling Smithsonian exhibit highlights the contributions made by African Americans in aviation history. The entire museum, including this exhibit, is no charge. It's free admission. Visit the museum at 505 West Richardson in Artesia. You're up to date. I'm Jared Sorello.
Turn up your radio. Here's the Sean Hannity Morning Minute.
But the things in my life that my parents gave me, that foundational faith that has sustained me. And I would argue when people ask me, well, how have you been able to achieve something that a lot of people in this business don't achieve? And that's longevity. I would say, number one, it's definitely the work ethic of my parents. Number two, I finely tuned conscience that I developed from a very young age thanks to them and their sacrifice. And then my own natural pursuit of a spiritual life. Human beings are mind, body, and spirit. And that belief in God is foundational to how you live your life, and that keeps you out of trouble.
Check out the Sean Hannity radio show later today, right here.
When was the last time you bragged about your wireless company? Like, did you know my wireless company gave away 1,000 American flags to deserving veterans and forgave $10 million in veterans' debt? Did you know that my wireless company raised almost $500,000 to prevent vet suicide? In other words, when your wireless company is Pure Talk, there's a whole lot to brag about. You can even brag about the coverage you get with Pure Talk. They use the same 5G network, the same cell towers as all the big carriers. And guess what? The average family saves over $1,000 a year. You can get unlimited talk and text, plenty of data, $25 a month. That's saving everybody a fortune. Make the switch. It's simple, fast, easy. Just dial pound 250, say the keyword save now. Do it now. You save an additional 50% off your first month. That's pound 250, keyword save now from our friends at Pure Talk.
Hey everyone, with your Cowboys Report, I'm Christy Scales. One of the new starting linebackers for the Cowboys defense is Jack Sanborn, a former Chicago Bear. He'll give us a scouting report on quarterback Caleb Williams and what to expect Sunday at Soldier Field right after this.
A true Dallas Cowboys fan is there for the journey and the destination. This is the season to make your journey count by flying through McAllen International Airport, the South Texas airport of the Dallas Cowboys. Whether you're flying down for McAllen's award-winning fall and holiday festivals, or you're a South Texas fan flying up to cheer the Cowboys on, make your journey as satisfying as your destination at the South Texas airport of the Dallas Cowboys. McAllen International Airport, above, beyond, at McAllenAirport.com.
I'm home. Hey, Mom, before you ask, I've done my homework and the dishwasher's unloaded.
Nice. Hey, can you... Hey, hon, yes, I've got the finale ready to play. Here's your wine.
Wow.
Isn't it nice not having to ask? We think so. That's why if there's a network interruption, AT&T will proactively credit you for a full day of service. Guaranteed. Credit for fiber downtime lasting 20 minutes or more, or for wireless downtime lasting 60 minutes or more caused by a single incident impacting 10 or more towers. Restrictions and exclusions apply. See att.com/guarantee for details.
Sunday's Cowboys-Bears game in Chicago is a homecoming for Cowboys defensive coordinator Matt Eberflus, who was fired last year by the Bears in his third season as their head coach. It's also a homecoming for new Cowboys starting linebacker Jack Sanborn, who spent his first 3 NFL seasons in Chicago. He practiced every day last year against quarterback Caleb Williams, last year's number 1 overall pick in the draft. Sanborn knows Williams has the ability to make big plays.
Very talented quarterback. He's got a strong arm, and he can also use his legs and get out. And I've seen him make a lot of really good plays. So I know the type of player he is, and we're going to have a challenge ahead of us.
Kickoff Sunday is 3:25 Central. You can hear all the action right here on your radio home for the boys. With the Cowboys Report, I'm Christy Scales.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. Watch out for a few showers or thunderstorms rolling through later on today. A little bit of humid air moving in from the south. We will have some sunshine, though, mid to upper 80s. Scattered showers and a thunderstorm or two overnight will drop into the low and mid 60s, and then everything should clear out on Saturday. We're expecting a nice weekend, upper 80s and sunny. We're back to the 90s and sunny on Sunday. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
With the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Rich Thomason. South Korean automaker Hyundai confirms it's moving ahead with expansion of its Georgia plant. The move comes after an immigration raid delayed the startup of an electric vehicle battery plant at the site. The company plans to invest $2.7 billion, boosting capacity by 200,000 vehicles. On Wall Street, shares of FedEx initially jumped more than 5% after it posted better than expected profit and revenue, but most of those gains. Home builder Lennar fell 2.5% after reporting that its third quarter revenue declined from a year ago. Wall Street's string of records continued on Thursday as Nvidia and Intel led a rally for tech stocks. Expectations are high that the Fed will keep cutting interest rates as it did on Wednesday. For the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Rich Thomason.
Over the last few months, there have been several tragedies in our country. Assassinations, school shootings, hateful speech, and unfortunately innocent lives taken, with those around often turning a blind eye to the violence. Are you tired, discouraged, or maybe even a little angry? Are you looking for answers but can't seem to find any? Do you want more than this life seems to offer? People attempt to deal with upheaval with a variety of distractions, from drugs and alcohol to working more to whatever can take their mind off the chaos. But is that the answer? In a letter to new Christians, the Apostle Paul gives them an answer. He writes that Christ is all and in all. In his letters, he explains that our Lord and Savior is the only answer to this fallen world. Nothing else can fill the void. Nothing else will give you the peace that you're craving. If you feel unsatisfied with this life, only Christ can fill that need. Come join us as we try to figure out how to navigate through these changing times.
Join us at the Country Club Road Church of Christ for worship at 10 a.m. on Sunday, located on the corner of Country Club and Washington in Roswell.
The 2025 Eastern New Mexico State Fair is here, September 29th through October 4th at the fairgrounds in Roswell. 6 days of boot-stomping fun at the happiest place on dirt. It all starts with a special carnival preview Friday and Saturday, September 26th and 27th. Then get ready for the biggest parade in southeastern New Mexico, Monday beginning at 10 a.m. Gates open at noon for a week jam-packed with fun for everyone. Daily shows including extreme illusions and escapes and the mythical creatures. All your favorite foods including Caribbean and Sarah's Mediterranean. Arts and crafts, livestock shows, rodeos, live entertainment from bands Austin Van, Mickey Cruz, and more. And closing out Saturday morning, the Junior Livestock Sale starting at 9 a.m. Log on to enmsf.com for the fair book with everything you need to know. The 2025 Eastern New Mexico State Fair, September 29th through October 4th at the fairgrounds in Roswell. And paid for by Roswell Lodgers Tax.
Jennifer here at Trustmark Roofing and Windows. And did you know that we get a bunch of service calls per year from people who didn't even hire us? That means they originally hired someone else to replace their roof, windows, or gutters. Then later, when a problem popped up, they tried to call their contractor back to help, only to find out that the contractor has ceased to exist. They're gone, done, out of state, out of business. At Trustmark Roofing and Windows, we have serviced southeastern New Mexico for 20 years. As a second-generation contractor, we have serviced our area through many major hail and windstorms. We have customers who are the kids of customers that we've serviced many years ago. We will be here when you need us, period. For roofing, gutters, or windows, visit trustmarkroofing.org or call Trustmark Roofing and Windows 575-755-ROOF. That's 575-755-7663.
Trustmark Roofing, we put people first.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. Turtles can breathe through their butts. We imagine you know some people who do that too, because that's where their heads reside. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning, closing in on 10 o'clock on this finally Friday. Mixmaster Mike Winters will be back inside your radios this coming Monday morning. He just had a little incident that he had to deal with, but that's all right because that's what Second Banana Sean Smalls is here for. Don't forget Roswell Coyote football coming your way tonight. You can hear that game right here on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM and see that game at ksvptv.com alongside your Goddard Rockets and Artesia Bulldogs. Just click on your team's tab and you'll be treated to some football action as we head into week 5 of your high school football season. I know, already halfway there. If you missed any portion of the program, you can always check it out in its entirety at ksvptv.com. Just look for the Mornings with Mike Winters tab and there it'll be. And the interviews from this morning will be up on the Facebook page just here in a few minutes. Big thanks for joining us. Clay Travis and Buck Sexton coming at you next. We'll talk to you on Monday morning. Have a great weekend.
Chris DeGaulle